so far. We know they went out and signed Matt Strom in the offseason. And some of the storylines out of the Combine. Bink is going to call in at 10:30, so we'll talk a little draft and Combine. What is he looking for this week? See if he agrees with me, and I think you as well, on a report that's out there about the Chiefs' interest in a tackle, which makes zero sense to me. We'll get into that.
Very little
Bink.
to me.
Yeah, it just doesn't. We'll explain. There's a report out there about the Chiefs maybe be interested in a free agent tackle, and that's fine if they want to sign one, but the particular one didn't make a whole lot of sense to us when we saw that before the show. So we'll get to that with Bink as well. You guys can always interact with us on the Jay Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Video stream up and running on Twitch, YouTube, X, Facebook. And as always, if you haven't already, subscribe over on YouTube. That way you don't miss any of the shows here on your home for KC Sports 96.5 The Fan. We do start today with the Kansas Jayhawks, who got a massive win against Houston last night. Okay, they get the win. It's 69-56. Big Monday. Bill Self gets to 41-0 on Big Monday at home, which is just
ludicrous.
Absolutely insane. Yesterday we discussed this game, and we kind of said it's one of those that felt like going in the Arizona game again, where there was not a whole lot of reason to believe other than out and Fieldhouse magic and all that kind of stuff for them to win. Houston was coming off a loss. They've now lost 3 in a row, but Kansas looked the way they did against Cincinnati at Allen Fieldhouse on Saturday, and they look like a completely different team last night. And that's the story I still think, of the entire season and heading into camp. Bill Self acknowledged it after the game. I think, anybody that's watched Kansas play this year, and that is that they can beat anybody. In fact, they've beat every single ranked team in the Big 12 at least once. But they also have lost to a UCF and a West Virginia and a Cincinnati at home. Bill Self was on with Scott Van Pelt after the game. You might have caught some of that interview. And he said, quote, "Our ceiling is high, but also we can play to any level." And that's exactly what the story of the season has been, and that is what is both exciting and also terrifying about this team once they get to March.
Because you'll face a lot of teams of the quality of Cincinnati, UCF, and whatever, and I don't know, the first or second round of the NCAA tournament. I can't figure them out. I told you yesterday during the show I thought they'd win against Houston for no other reason than the one we just mentioned. I don't know. It's Allen Fieldhouse, and sure. There wasn't some firm logic in it. Hell, for the first 10 minutes of that game, I almost texted you guys like 3 different times, like, what's Kansas going to lose by 30 again tonight? Didn't hit a shot for 9 straight minutes. Played genuinely awful to watch basketball. For the first half of the first half, had the lead by the half, and then ran away with it. So, even in a singular game, they didn't make any sense. Darren Peterson couldn't shoot. For now 3 times in the last 4 games, Peterson seems like he's just trying to shoot himself out of a slump, which is not uncommon for elite level scorers, but just shoot himself out of a slump like he was in last night. And it was yet a different Jayhawk who came through. Hadn't been Trey White for a little while, so last night it was his night to go ahead and step up. And so not Tiller this time, not Melvin Council this time. This time it was White. And so,
it was crazy.
They're just a tough team. It's a huge win, obviously. All these things keep them on the 3 line and all this other normal stuff.
Right. And, KU hasn't lost back-to-back home games since 1988. So that run continues for them. It's the first time in a very long time that Houston's lost 3 in a row. And look, every team can do this in the Big 12 race, and as good as the Big 12 is. But, you go through, Cody, and you're like, okay, they've beat all these ranked opponents in the Big 12, and where they're sitting in the Big 12 standings, it's like, man, if you don't slip up against UCF or West Virginia, I should say, or Cincinnati, all of a sudden you're right there at a legitimate shot to win the Big 12. They're not going to win the Big 12. To me, once the Cincinnati loss happened, that ended their chances. Arizona's sitting at 2 losses in the Big 12. The good news is you just now beat Houston, and so you're able to catch them. But yeah, you're kicking yourself a little bit of what could have happened in the Big 12 race for you if you didn't slip up. And that's why the Big 12 is so good, though, is that anybody has been able to beat anybody. Iowa State slipped up against TCU at one point in time. But just last night, thrilling.
Kansas almost slipped up against TCU, as you remember.
Thrilling win. This is why you still believe in this team when you look at the national title odds and Final Four odds and everything. Bryson Tiller, I know you said it wasn't his night, but he saw a double-double. He had 11 points.
I just meant like it wasn't his night to
be the guy. Yeah, because Bryson Tiller had 11 points, 10 boards, and 3 blocks. And, the actual shooting night from Darren Peterson, 14 points, 5 of 14 shooting. Did play 30 minutes for Kansas. And we were just discussing yesterday and last week how he doesn't talk after games. He does the Myron Metcalf interview over the weekend or whatever it was. Then yesterday after the game, he spoke a little bit. He was asked just about the outside noise.
Somebody's had something to say probably after every game this year, so I don't really pay attention to it anymore. I don't know. I've kind of been a antisocial loner my whole life, kind of, so I kind of just deal with it on my own.
I mean, that's fine. You don't have to listen to noise. You don't have to create burner accounts like Kevin Durant, right? I mean, you can handle it in your own way. And look, for most professional athletes, you know what my suggestion would be? Don't listen to them, right? Don't, because it's too much. It is too much noise sometimes. But as we had said, I also think he can silence some of the critics by being available and explaining himself, because we are left to, and not just we as in like radio host, but
everybody.
People are left to like fill in their own gaps about what we think and read between the lines, and then like listen to Bill Self say, I thought he was good to go and he's not good to go, and take that as a massive criticism, versus if he's also giving his side of the story, those conversations probably sound a little bit different. Look, Kansas is currently second in the Big 12, which is the best basketball conference in college basketball this year. They're second. They're only behind what was previously number 1 ranked Arizona.
And they play them coming up on Saturday.
I know. And so if they beat them a second time, which I don't think is going to happen,
neither do I.
On the road, I would predict Arizona to win that game. But if they were to beat them again, it's like, what are you? How are you 1-3 against TCU, UCF, Cincinnati? Make it make sense. They're 1-3 against those teams. And the one, by the way, is a survival win against TCU when you had to make an epic comeback. Yeah. And you're 5-1 against every good team in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, Kelvin Sampson also summed it up. I mean, both Bills. So Bill Self talking about how their ceiling's high, they can play at any level. Then Kelvin Sampson was asked about what happened last night. The head coach, of course, at Houston.
So Kansas is one of those teams that you just never know, but they're pretty good. So are we. We're pretty good too. Maybe not tonight, but we're pretty good.
What do you mean by Kansas? You never know what that means.
That's what Houston's coach said. He said Kansas, you just never know.
Hey, I like that.
That last part is Matt Tate, who we've had on the show before, of course, has covered KU a long time, asking, mentioning to Darren Peterson and some of the players, like, with Kansas, you just never know. And you could tell Darren Peterson really didn't like that. That was the notion. But that's who they are in 2026. Well, like, you really don't know for sure what you're getting. They can go and beat. They can go and beat anybody. Truly, anybody in the country, I think they can beat. But they can slip up to, as you said, the random 8 seed, the random 11 seed, if that's actually the way the bracket works out.
I will say, watching them last night does further prove they probably sleptwalks through the Cincinnati game. But what you're saying about you never know is they have more losses than every single other top 15 team. They have 7 losses. That's more than all of them. There's a couple with 6. There's a couple with 5. And then there's some teams below them, certainly, that have 6 or 7 losses, but they're better than all of them.
But they're 7-1 in quad 2 wins, which matters. 8-6 in quad 1, and we go through and we can go through the top 25 wins that they have on their slate. And as you said, they're playing in the best conference in America. The net rankings, just the top 13, KU's 13. I think this is updated as this morning. This is through, this is not updated after last night. So this is they're going to be better than this. They were 13 entering last night. But Big 12 Arizona was 3. Big 12 team in Iowa State was 8 in net. Houston was 9.
Those are all teams they beat.
Kansas, I already said, was 13. Tech was 15. BYU 19. That was just entering last night. So, I don't know how much movement Kansas got out of that one as far as their team sheet, if you will. Yep. But yeah, this is why, we were looking at odds for fun before the show. Like, just curious where the national title odds are and stuff. 25-1 still. That's the same number as like 2 weeks ago.
I know. Surprising. Well, because they've beaten other top-ranked teams, but then lost to worse teams. So then the odds have just been floating where they are. Look, if you're going to take a long shot on a team, there's much worse teams to take on than Kansas, even though I'm not sure they can be consistent for 6 consecutive games. Yeah.
And when they're going to, when they're playing in the NCAA tournament, those are neutral site games. They'll have generally, in most cases, depending on where they get shipped out to, they'll have the majority of fans, but it's, of course, you're not playing at Allen Fieldhouse throughout the NCAA tournament. We're going to also talk about Missouri later. For a while, we were just looking at it being Vandy and the 2 games against Arkansas down the stretch. Well, Missouri gets a chance against a top 25 Tennessee team tonight in Columbia, so we'll discuss the Missouri Tigers a little bit later on in the show. But let's talk some Chiefs football. Mike Dana not a surprise, but it happened, an hour or so after our show yesterday, if that. Mike Dana cut by the Chiefs, and he was on the list of guys that if you needed to free up some money, here's $8 million or almost $9 million that you can free up. Now you're going to eat on a deal that turned out to be really bad for you, $11 million. But he was extremely disappointing last year, and you needed to free up some cap space. He was an obvious cut. I think this, the most of the defensive line, other than Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, most of the defensive line is not back next year. Charles Omenihu was already a free. They'll have to cut him. He's just a free agent. So Omenihu not back. Mike Dana not back. We take a look at potentially what they decide to do in the draft and how that impacts all this. But Mike Dana being cut, no real surprise there.
No, it's not. But that's also, look, they had to do it because he stinks.
He had a terrible season.
He had maybe he doesn't stink forever, but he certainly had a real bad season. So they had to make a decision there, and I don't blame them for the decision they made. Okay, great. Then you get into the issue where you run into where they had Omenihu and him. And this is, I think, what stands out to me is, can he evaluate defensive end better this year than last year? Because while this was an obvious move, his attempts to fix the defensive line in free agency last year were bringing back Mike Dana. I'm not saying Mike Dana was a bad draft pick. Mike Dana was actually a good draft pick for where they selected him and the amount of play they got out of him and the amount of production they got out of him. But he was a bad free agent signing, and Charles Omenihu was an even worse one.
3-year, $24 million deal for Mike Dana, and they're ejecting after 1 year.
And they didn't even get any good value out of that year. And so, yeah, they have a problem there on the defensive line. This goes back to why we think they, at number 9, the D-line is still the most likely scenario, which we'll talk about, of course, with Jay Binkley coming up at 10:30. But what choice did they have in Michael Dana? He's not, if you can cut him and re-sign him for less than it would cost to cut him, and I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think they're bringing Mike Dana back. Well, then you have no choice in the matter. His market is 1 year and $5 million with some team.
Yeah, just to correct, I think I said the dead cap number wrong. So from Spot Track, Mike Dana leaves $2.1 million of dead cap. The Chiefs free up $8.9. So Kansas City right now is still over the cap by about $6.5 million. And remember, they have till the start of the league year. They got to be under. But that's just the next move. If they wanted to move on from Drew Tranquil, Cody, they could free up a couple more million. If they wanted to restructure Trace Smith or Creed Humphrey, they could free up quite a bit of money there. Juwan Taylor, they still have not officially cut yet. That's $20 million that they can free up.
And then that'll get us back to the rumors and all that other stuff that was taking place. But that is where this is one of many moves, and you and I talked about this, that they were going to have to make in order to get themselves cap compliant. And are they closer to being cap compliant? Sure. And do they have plenty of methodologies in order to get themselves there? Absolutely. But this also, whether he was a good player or not, Gold, they have even less depth than they did before, right? And so that's the part that does concern me. While we say sometimes you need bodies. Like it or not, you need bodies. The problem was his got too expensive. For the amount of it, I told you, he had some of the worst pass rush stats. He essentially was getting a pressure every 80 snaps or something this season. You're like, what? Every 2.5 games you'd manage to get to the quarterback? And look, we've knocked on other draft picks like Felix. He can get to the quarterback more than that. And that to me is the Dana replacement for what it's worth. I'm not saying he's a superstar or anything They make up for the Dana depth, as in a guy, a body, a person on the line, by just rolling in Felix, who wasn't available.
Yeah, you and I are just so different on the Felix.
I don't mean he's a star, but he needs to play as much as Dana. But for that,
I don't know how it's going to play. You are way more confident than I am that Felix Anudike-Uzomah is making his football team next year. Way more than I
think he's making the team.
I'm very skeptical that he's even on the roster. He's in camp, sure. I think, Cody, the defense, Mike Dana's not back. Derek Notty's not back. Charles Omenihu's not going to be back. There's 3 guys on the defensive line automatically that are not back. I think they're going to sign a veteran or 2, and I think they're going to draft one. And those are 3 guys at that point in time. I think Felix is just someone at camp. I would almost be surprised.
I think he's a rotational defensive lineman. I could be way off on this one. And look, it's so early. It's so early in the process. And certainly some of the rumor mill stuff of his work ethic or some of the things that they had asked him to do in an offseason that maybe he didn't do.
Yep.
That certainly would make you feel more emboldened, and I think reasonably so, that his positioning on the team or safety on the team is certainly low. I just know that this is like a numbers game for me. Out of the just snaps, players took last year, there are a lot to make up for Charles Omenihu and Mike Tana. They might not have been productive in those snaps, but there are a lot of available snaps, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think they're going to
Even for
spend
number
a
9
fairly
in
high
free agency
pick
and
on
those
it
things.
to eat up a bunch of those. I also think we're going to see an increase in snaps for Omar Norman Lott when he's healthy. I think Ashton Gelati will have about the same snaps as we get going moving forward. And then I think they signed a veteran. And so I think the odd man out will be Felix.
Gelati had 485 snaps last year. That was more than Mike Tana. 389 is what it ended up being for Dana. And then where's Charles Omenihu had 568. So there are 1,100 snaps. Look, if they take a defensive lineman at 9, I think that guy will get between 450 and 500. I think it'll be like right in that Gelati range, but not all the way to the Omenihu range, just knowing how they use defensive linemen.
And then I think Norman Lott eats up more than he did this year. And then they signed a vet.
But I also and I'm not saying I'm not here to tell you that I think Felix is taking any of the full snaps of either of those guys. I don't think he's getting the 389 that Dana got, and I don't think he's getting the 570 that Charles Omenihu got. I think he's getting like 300. Like he's going to be in that. Derek Nottie got 308 last year. Jerry Tillery got 374. Like there are those guys even on the team?
Tillery signed a 1-year deal? Hold on.
I think Tillery was on a 1-year deal.
The whole defensive line
Derek
is
Nottie on the team?
The whole defensive, Derek Notty's he was on one. The whole defensive line is going to look different. It was a 1-year deal for Tillery.
There are 4,000 snaps on the defensive line available. I guess that's part of the reason why I'm guessing Felix makes the team.
I just think
I get your point.
They just clean house, other than Chris Jones basically and George Karlaftis and the two. Yeah, well, that's exactly what's happening. I mean, that defensive line was not good. No, so you keep Chris Jones, you keep Karlaftis, you roll with your year 2 players in Gelati and Norman Lott because they're year 2 guys, and then you fill in the rest via free agency / a top draft pick, hopefully. And so they at this point in time, everybody nobody's the Felix and opportunity stuff. We're way past that. He's 3 years into the league or whatever, 4 years into the league. So you're way past the you got to give him another chance. I understand he's a young player, but. If there are guys that are simply just better than him, there's no holding a roster spot anymore for him. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, so. and I don't think that either. I guess the way I'm viewing it is slightly different in the sense that what you're saying, the free agency plan of essentially we're going to fill in the back end of this with warm bodies off of the free agency pool. I could probably just do that with Felix. I get your point.
I don't know.
And I'm not saying that the warm body off of the free agency pool might not be better or worse, but a couple of those warm bodies, including Tillery and Omenihu and Dana. I don't know that they would have been better if Felix had been healthy last year. And I'm not, and as you well know.
Well, that's why they're getting cut too. They weren't good.
I'm not high on Felix and Ndika Uzama as a player. I think he could be an acceptable rotational defensive lineman. We'll get a better sense later.
Yeah, we'll also talk more about it with Bink. Bink's going to join us in 10 minutes. It's Combine Week out in Indy. We'll ask Bink what he's looking forward to at the Combine, talk a little draft, certainly talk about Mike Dana getting cut. That's coming up in just a bit. We're just getting started here on a Tuesday. Briefly, do want to pivot to the Royals with Seth Lugo. And yesterday we talked a ton about Cole Reagans, and you said that you thought he's the most important Royals player, and I certainly understood that. I said I still think maybe Cags only because the swing for the entire season. What about Seth Lugo? Because we all know the debate in season. Do you trade him? Do you give him an extension? They opted to give him an extension. And I had no issue with the deal at the time. I still don't have an issue with the deal. However, you got to get it right. And so what he was on the back half of last season, he can't be that. If that's what he is, then it was a disastrous deal.
Well, I don't disagree with that. And I guess that's why, going into the year, and we'll ask JJ Picollo about this, which is Seth Lugo, and this is part of the problem with their entire roster in a lot of spots. And there's other guys we can talk about in this same capacity, not in the exact same way, but at least in this. Seth Lugo's back of his baseball card is still not that of a 30-game starter who goes in and does it every single year. I know this sounds weird now, but as a reminder, he was not a starting pitcher in baseball until he turned 33 years old. Not that he never started games, but he was not really a full-time starter until he was 33. In one season when he was 27 years old that he started 18 or 19 games. But then since then, he has essentially been a bullpen arm until he became that. But he has been wildly consistent in those 3 years until the back half of last season when it all fell apart.
Yeah, he finished second, remember, in 2024, just 2 years ago, second in AL Cy Young. Yeah. Last year, before the trade deadline, or before he got his extension, I should say, so before July 8th.
He was electric.
He had an ERA of 2.67.
He was saving them at a time when Cole Reagans was unavailable.
Then he signs the 2-year extension, so he signed through 2027. And in August, he had a 9.11 ERA, 6 starts, and only one of them lasted 5 or more innings. And he just couldn't command anything. He had the second highest walk rate of his career to finish the season, and he walked 4 more batters in 4 of his final 7 outings. So what that reason was, what occurred there, was he fatigued? The first month is going to be really interesting to watch for Seth Lugo, because that was really concerning. Does he immediately jump back to being more like what he was the prior year and a half? Or was that a sign of, were there signs there in the second half of the season, particularly August, if we're being fair? It was really 1 month that was just a complete disaster.
I guess part of this just goes back to the idea of, did he finally hit a wall as a starter? And like normally, again, this would be the thing that we discuss, his age. Gold, he's 35 years old. But I think what strikes me is it's not age, it was just a bad part of the season. And why I'm leaning towards, I think he'll be okay, is he was 35 in the middle of the season. He was 34 the year before that. He was old, right? Like, and relative speaking, I'm older than Seth Lugo.
We're talking sports.
I think sometimes we gotta the baseball part gets us versus the rest. But by baseball player standards, he was already that age. And it wasn't like it had caught up with him. He had turned 35 and he'd struggled all season. No, he was one of the best. After finishing second in the Cy Young, he was one of the best pitchers in all of the American League and all of baseball up until August. And then August happened and it all fell apart. So, like, I'm inclined to say, just as long as he doesn't fall apart for the first 6 to 8 weeks this season, then it's probably okay. Now, if he starts off slow, I'm going to stop thinking it was a blip in the run here, and it's like something caught up. They caught up with you, something happened, spin rate, whatever the hell this stuff goes on.
Hey, he was walking way too many guys.
Yeah, he lost his control, lost his command. He's got a whole offseason to fix that stuff. So just as long as he doesn't start really slow for 6 to 8 weeks, I'm inclined to think that was just a bump in the road.
This is why, as good as you might feel about the rotation in terms of the names, there are still questions about each and every one of them.
Yep.
And why, there's going to be multiple pitchers that start in AAA to begin the season. That could be bullpen guys or whatever, but you across the season, whether it's performance or there's going to be some injuries, they're going to probably eat into some of those guys that are going to start the season down in AAA. The chances that by June 1st that the starting 5 rotation, that's just the same exact rotation without any missed starts by the time we even get to June 1st is extremely unlikely. That's just not usually how it goes. They had that 2 years ago when they were just ridiculously healthy. And then last year, regression was kind of what, and it got them. Injuries and performance. So Now does it balance back out again this year in a more positive way? We'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, man. Their rotation is their bread and butter still. It is the strength of their team. It is what their team is built around, Gold. So, we can't have a lot of, and they have plenty of depth, as we've mentioned, but can't have a lot of falter, I guess, in that range and still be okay.
Coming up next, let's talk a little combine as it is going on in Indianapolis this week. Jay Binkley, of course, from Character Concerns podcast with him and Chris Unocero. We'll talk some draft. We'll talk about Mike Dana. Look ahead a little bit to some of these players that may get franchise tagged in the NFL. That's coming up right here on Cody and Gold.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
We're going to try to tickle your tonsils.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
Prostate cancer. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed in their lifetime, but early detection can save lives. That's where KCUC comes in. They're the premier center for urology and oncology, with over 50 elite providers and more than 20 locations across the metro. KCUC makes it easy to get screened fast in the comfort of an office, not a hospital. Schedule your screening today at kcuc.com. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. kcuc.com. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
Legendary doesn't happen by chance. It happens because it's what BetMGM does. Sign up for BetMGM using bonus code DUSTY and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Get into hockey, basketball, and more of your favorite sports with same-game parlays. That's what I do. I love it a lot. Live betting and more. Earn BetMGM reward points on every single bet. Take advantage of offers found nowhere else, and keep an eye out for your rewards dropping in your account throughout the year. So again, sign up with bonus code DUSTY and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. BetMGM, make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsible. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly.
This is Kevin Harlan, and I'm here with Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford. Fresh off a record-breaking year and a successful run at Ford's 2025 Top Volume Award. Rob, how did you do it?
Kevin, it's simple. We pulled out all the stops on price, on trade values, on inventory, and made sure our customers got an experience they couldn't find anywhere else.
Well, the race isn't over. 2026 is here, and you're back in the chase again.
That's right, and we're going even harder this year. More inventory, more aggressive trade-in values, and a buying experience other dealers just can't match.
Well, you're not just talking, you've got the receipts. Kansas City's only top-rated Ford dealer on Google, 4.8 stars with nearly 3,000 reviews. Voted best car dealership in Kansas City by KC Magazine.
The recognition matters, but what actually matters is how you feel when you call or visit Rob Seid Ford.
Inventory, value, transparency, and no pressure. That's why people keep coming back.
Come see us at 135th and State Line or visit us online at robsight.com.
Rob Seid Ford. Buy right. Drive happy.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
You got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13, and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with autopay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like nuclear reactor safety expert.
I disabled the backup cooling system. It was making such an annoying noise. You heard it, right? It was like,
We're on the countdown to core failure.
And you're saying we don't want that?
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
This update is brought to you by Ollie's Bargain Outlet.
Ollie's deals are so good, you won't believe the prices.
This has to be a joke.
It's no joke. Ollie's Bargain Outlet sells famous brand name merchandise at up to 70% off the fancy store prices. Hurry in.
Ollie! Good stuff, cheap!
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Coming up in a half hour, we're expected to head out to Indianapolis, where Chiefs General Manager Brett Veach will speak to the media, as he always does at the Combine, discussing a little bit about free agency and mindset as they handle things in Indy, and then, of course, the draft ultimately coming up at the end of April in Pittsburgh. Someone that lives for this week, someone that will be locked in 24/7 to NFL Network.
Arm length, vertical,
looking at
40.
hand measurements, hip placement, everything. Jay Binkley from Character Concerns joins us here on Cody and Gold. Bink, I know you're in a great mood this week. What's going on, man?
Oh man, this is the time. I tell you guys, the 3 months leading back to the NFL. For some reason, I'm getting right back on the.
I'm gonna go put him on hold. I think he said he's getting like background noise or something. I don't know if you want to check with him there. Did anybody else hear that? He
might be getting feedback.
Some feedback. So I don't know if the mix minus needs to be adjusted there. We'll work on that. And then I do want to talk to Bink. I think he was hearing himself talk, which is very annoying when you're trying to do a radio interview and trying to have a real conversation. If that happens,
It's a challenge.
It is.
In previous experience, it's certainly a challenge. Usually, it's a click of a button.
Yep.
And then you can be squared away. So we'll hope to get Jay Binkley back on in a minute. But you're right. He does live for this.
This is his week, man.
This is his week.
The draft obviously is the Super Bowl for him, but Combine week, nobody locks in for the Combine more that I know, period, than Jay Binkley.
I'm surprised we don't just send him every year,
He's been before, I think.
Has he?
He can answer that question when we get reconnected with him.
I was about to say, I've never asked.
I've never gone to the Combine.
Me either.
Yeah. Someone says they heard the movie Draft Day in the background. Yeah, that's right. He's pre-gaming for the Combine, watching the NFL movie Draft Day. That's exactly right. I figured he's actually watching old pro days. That's what I can imagine. Bink's watching pro days of like Patrick Mahomes.
That's what he does in the week before?
Yeah, I figure like he's watching Mahomes' pro day and Mahomes running the 40.
They've asked him to stop showing his 40.
He's watching Chris Jones run the 40. Be careful with that one. That's what he's doing this week.
I got to say, it is still like, of the way, this is like the difference between like straight line speed and like combine speed. Patrick Mahomes in that 40 looks far less agile and elusive than in actual real life. Like when you watch him on a football field, he makes people miss, and he looks fast and agile and quick. And then I watch that 40 video, and they constantly run him as a ghost against all these other people in the draft, even guys who are fast as hell. And it's like it just looks weird.
Let's try to reconnect with Jay Binkley. We'll see how this goes. Bink, everybody's just assuming that you actually were trying to get caught up on a scene of draft day or something,
Sure.
and that's why you couldn't. That's why you couldn't talk to us.
No, that wasn't it, Alex. But everything I was saying, and still happened, it's still going. Everything I'm saying is going directly back to me. I don't find myself that interesting.
That's tough, Bink, at least on this end. We will continue to try to get it fixed. Do you want to keep chatting or do you want to call later?
Let's keep chatting. I'm just, it was just really distracting.
I get it.
I can hear exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
Binkley, when you look at like what to look for in the combine, who are the, I guess, risers, fallers, who are the 2 or 3, maybe even 4 players you think are the most important as far as their draft stock as it relates to the Chiefs this week?
I think it'll be of the defensive ends. I think the edge rushers, Reuben Bailey, they're going to go up and down. But Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson is going to be interesting because he's not going to work out at the Combine. And then, of course, with Denzel Boston from Washington, I think he can definitely be a riser. Kevin Concepcion, the wide receiver for an A&M, because some of these guys think there might be 5 to 6 drafted receivers in the first round. The record is 7 in 04 and 2024, but Mekhi Lemon, certainly, Cardinal Tate, these guys have a lot to lose. I mean, are they going to be top 10 picks? We're about to find out, but the trend is they will be top 10 picks, but they need to go out to Indianapolis and prove it. There's going to be a lot of moving and shaking with different mock drafts, of course, now, and then, of course, again, March 9th through 11th when free agency starts. But I think those guys have a lot of line, these top 10, because it's not really set in stone. Mendoza's going 1, Arvell Reese probably, going 2 or 3. But then what about these other guys? Caleb Downs, will a team, take a chance and say, hey, this is the best guy in the first round? Forget about the fact he's a safety. 5 years down the line, we want to look back at the 26th draft and see Caleb Downs is the best player in that draft. Like a lot of people are going back and looking at the 22 draft and thinking that first round basically is Aiden Hutchinson and Kyle Hamilton, and they want to be in that category.
How much overreaction happens based on this week? It's one thing when the new mocks come out, and there will certainly be overreaction there. But what happens at the combine? I mean, we were just joking about the 40-yard dash. I mean, so much of what these players do, like we all like finding out who's the fastest player. That's fun. That's cool. That's been going on since the beginning of time, essentially. Like people like to determine that. But like some of these offensive linemen drill where they start on the ground, then have to get up and then run straight. Like if you're an offensive lineman, when is that like when some of these scenarios just don't ever happen in a football game?
No, it doesn't, and they're silly, and a lot of guys opt out of them. You'll see it. You've already started seeing it with the quarterbacks. Where the other years ago, Sam Hartman was the only quarterback to run the 40 because it wasn't pertinent. Really, 10-yard splits. That's important. How fast can an edge rusher, get to the quarterback, or what can you do in the amount of 10 yards? Or offensive line, a lot of it is bench press reps and what kind of strength the player has. But you've seen more and more guys opt out of different. It's far from the day when guys would do everything. And you look at their combine tracker on NFL.com, which I recommend definitely that to Chiefs fans that want to follow along because they do identify every single position.
Now,
wide receiver, running backs, and they'll put down who has the best bench press, who has the best 40, and they'll identify it by position. But definitely NFL.com does a great job with the combine on that. But they've scheduled the interview questions, which a lot of guys are doing their interviews now before the on-field starts Thursday. But they've scaled back the stupid questions, which is huge.
Do you do a lot of stretching before the combine as well? Like, do you consider putting on any spandex as well, just to try to mimic what they're going through, to try to really elevate yourself to what the combine's all about?
Well, I walk around with that shirt, that sleeveless shirt that they wear with the little things up by the shoulders where they can track my performance.
Right.
And stuff. I'll wear that up to St. Elmo's while I'm downing shrimp and beer.
Yeah, I figure St. Elmo's is booked up all week.
Oh yeah. The draft people love that.
Binkley, is there something that Ruben Bain could do to move up, like other than his arm length? Let's say, is there certain drills you think that he might make him a more valuable player to at least the Chiefs' end?
Well, I think so. His versatility. Is he willing to play in the inside? Is he willing to be that 3 tech, that 5 tech? How is he to moving inside, like a Chris Jones? They can play on the outside or the inside, because that's the kind of player Spagnuolo is looking for. And he said he would do it. I mean, Ruben has said that he would do it. He's an extremely talented football player. And again, it's funny because I get that at Ruben Bain arm length all the time. I was sitting at a bar the other day and I got Ruben Bain arm length questions. And I'm not kidding you.
Only Jay Binkley is having people come up to him to talk about another man's arm length.
Yeah. But anyway, I told him, I was like, listen, it's not necessarily about the arm length, because let's not forget, he hasn't officially been measured. I mean, that was out there, but it wasn't. He didn't even go to the Senior Bowl, so he didn't have the measurements from there. But he hasn't, quote, measured, by the official, governing body doing it. So we don't exactly 100% know. And I've seen guys that go in with, everybody thinks they've got short arms, and all of a sudden they're 2 or 3 inches longer than what they thought, or their pro day. It happens all the time. But Ruben Bain, to me, the biggest difference is, and people still, when I tell them, it's like, which game should I watch during the regular season? I know that A&M game where he had 3 sacks. That was great. He was dominant. But what about another game? What game stands out to you from that schedule? And they can't tell me, because he goes week 3 through 10 with just a half sack. So it's like, why did he have these 4-game stretches where he wasn't getting to the quarterback? Is that because Akeem Mesidor? I mean, let's not forget the other edge on the other side of that defensive line is going in the first round. That stuff stands out to me, man, because these guys that are looking great one game and then have 2 or 3 games where they've just disappeared on the back of a milk carton, you don't want that, because I know the callers when they call in. So-and-so had a great game. We haven't heard from this guy for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. That will come. That's the only part that concerns me with Ruben.
We know Bink, as we're talking to Jay Binkley out of the NFL Combine, is actually going on right now in Indy. Mike Dana was cut yesterday. No surprise. We knew he was a candidate to be cut based on his financials. There's certainly some other names that could get cut to save some money. We were discussing this defensive line. I mean, it feels like other than Karlaftis, Chris Jones, and bringing back Gelati and Lott. It feels like everybody, I mean, Aminihu's gone, Mike Dana's gone, Derek Notty's going to be gone.
Tillery gone.
Tillery, I mean, are they just revamping this entire defensive front for the most part, you think?
I think so. It's going to be cleaning house. It really stinks about Aminihu. Like, I really thought this was going to be his year, that contract year. He was going to go out there. Because I like the guy. I like the fact that the Chiefs brought him in and stuff. I was just expecting much more last year. I will say this. I think Omar Norman Lott is going to turn a lot of heads. I think the Chiefs made a mistake with him last year when they tried to bulk him up and put him at nose, because that's not his position. Playing with less weight is what he did at Tennessee. It's what made him effective, getting to the quarterback from the defensive line position, that six-man rotation that they used at Tennessee. He was very effective in that. The Chiefs liked that part about Omar Norman Lott. He played a lot thinner than what the Chiefs tried to do with him, and I think they realized that maybe a little bit too late. They tried to put too much weight on Omar Norman Lott, but look at what made him successful at Tennessee, and that's the way I'd like to see him. There's a reason why he was a second-round pick. Omar Norman Lott is extremely, extremely talented. We can't forget about that. I mean, this guy was, making amends to move up to the first round last year. He's an incredibly talented football player that unfortunately got hurt early, but don't forget about that. That's going to be a surprise pick this year when you see him play, how good this guy has, the potential that he has that you didn't get to see last year. So it's almost like an extra pick this year having Omar back.
I guess part of this is I think there might be 2,000 defensive line snaps available, Bink. And so Gold and I were just talking about FAU, and I've never been high on FAU. I didn't like the pick from the beginning, but I also think that he could be a rotational defensive lineman that they'll use. Do you think he actually makes the roster? What's your early February 24th prediction for him, I guess?
Well, it's so thin right now at that position. Hopefully it shores up, but no, I could see a situation where he's not on this roster. And yeah, you would think it would make sense with Mike Dana being gone from the Chiefs, which they got everything they could out of Mike. Let's not forget Mike Dana didn't even go to the combine. They liked what he did going back to Central Michigan at Michigan, but he wasn't even a combine invitee, but turned out to play much bigger and better than what he was, because guy didn't go to those situations. The Chiefs threw a draft pick on him, so he did live up to that early on. But FAU, man, it's going to be tough. And I know it's a position that Chiefs have to have. And of course, I think they're going to be looking, of course, in free agency and in the draft this year, because I do think the edge is pretty deep in this year's draft. So I know they will be addressing that, but they do like that rotation, 100% that rotation. But I think it's going to be tough for FAU to be on the field this year to make this roster.
Lastly, Bink, just the running back position. We know Javonte Williams off the board. He signed with the Cowboys over the weekend. Seems like there's traction toward Breece Hall getting a transition tag, and Kenneth Walker will be a free agent. He's not going to get tagged, although most people think he's going back to Seattle. Knowing that Williams is off the board, the contract that he got, what's your updated free agent, top three running backs that you would be interested in Kansas City?
Well, it'd be Tyler Algier would be one. Of course, Rico Dowdle would be, part of that equation as well. Yeah, I like Breece. And stuff like that, but it just wasn't going to be a fit. I thought they could do this through the draft as far as what the Chiefs need, but I wouldn't go stretching on it if I was the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, Dameon Pierce, I'd bring him back to see what he's got in the tank to compete when you get to St. Joe, but it would be a move like Tyler Algier. I'd like that guy for many years. This guy catches the ball in the backfield, is perfect Andy Reid guy, went to BYU. This guy would be perfect. And he got, he still was productive, but he had to sit up behind Bijan Robinson, and we've seen other running backs that were in the same situation that exploded in the NFL for multiple 1,000-yard seasons after that happened. But I think it's through the draft in the top 3 rounds. I think that's where they're going to find their running back this year. So I'm 100% content on Burchard, a combination with maybe a Tyler Algier in the backfield, and then a draft pick at pick 74. I wouldn't go any further than pick 74 to get a running back for this year's team. I think it's going to be a high commodity, and this running back class is loaded. I know that the people aren't looking at it as being a very deep running back class, which it really isn't, but I do feel in the second and third rounds there's quality players.
Jay Binkley, of course, this is his season, man. Draft season in full swing. Combine beginning this week. Appreciate it, man. We'll check in, I'm sure, in the next week or so. And actually, I guess you're filling in for me Thursday and Friday, so there you go.
That's right. Well, I'm sure that Cody and I will talk draft.
Yeah, I don't know if that's allowed, but Cody won't let you. I'm told he
It's
doesn't.
during the combine.
We'll talk draft,
Cody
Hank. We'll find some time.
All right, thank
It's
you.
a big day. Thursday's a big day, Cody. You get defensive linemen going and linebackers. It's a huge day.
Of course it is.
Huge day? I mean, those positions do matter. Looks like Brett Veach is speaking early out there.
Of course.
So,
all right, we'll pivot. As soon as we're good to go, we will head out to Indianapolis. I think Drew is still on the phone with Jay Binkley, but we need to head out to Indianapolis as soon as possible as he is speaking to the media. That would be awesome if we could do that. Go ahead and hang up on him. Bink is now holding Drew hostage. Let's go to Indianapolis if we can, Drew. Please let me know as soon as possible. As Brett Veach is getting set to fill us in at least a little bit on maybe where their thinking is, and let's go out to him now.
And get with some agents on our players and again, help kick off this 2026 season. So, time's yours. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of dialogue with Trent last spring, last summer, and with Trent, he's first out of the gate, I think, tomorrow. So, looking forward to get with him, and obviously Trent's a great player, and see what we can do there. But certainly love to have Trent back and for the long term. It's funny, every year when we were picking 31, 32, I'd always say, man, if we were just at 24 or 25, we'd be exactly where we want to be. And now we're at 9. I'm like, man, if we were just at 4 or 5, we'd be exactly where we want to be. So I think every GM kind of has that mindset where, unless you have the first pick, there's a certain element that you can't control, and you have to let the dominoes fall, if you will. But, we're excited. I mean, we don't want to be picking 9 every year, but we're excited to add some young talent to this roster. And I think even more excitingly, those second, third rounds where it felt like years past, day one would end, we'd come in there and there'd be 5 or 6 players, but you knew at 32 in round 2, you wouldn't get them either. So it's not just the first round. I think we have an opportunity to really capitalize here and add a lot of talent throughout the course of the draft weekend. Yeah, I think we've kind of taken a different approach with Travis in the sense that I think, we've kind of prepared for either scenario. And Coach had mentioned on Friday, he's had great dialogue with Travis on our end, myself, Chris Shea, Travis's crew. We've had some good dialogue there. And I'm sure we're going to see him here just like we will all the other players' agents, and we'll continue that dialogue. But Travis is the best. He's an icon, and hopefully he comes back, and we'll just kind of let that process play out. Oh, well, I think it's a combination of all those. I mean, it's not your typical, hey, 27-year-old first time at free agency. I mean, Travis has done everything. He's accomplished everything. He's about to get married. He's got a lot going on. And so I don't think there's an element of us not trying to, you need some sort of deadline timeline, but at the same time, I mean, it's Travis Kelce. So we're going to just continue to have positive dialogue and see where this thing ends. But I think we're trying to position ourselves that either way, we have a plan moving forward.
As far as the roster construction, heading into this year, where do you view the biggest weakness on the offensive side of the ball? How can you protect Patrick from competition?
Well, I think it's certainly we want to get more explosive in the running game, and we've invested in that interior, and with Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, I mean, 2 of the best in the league, and we thought Kingsley made a big step. I mean, those are 3 talented interior players. So I think, and we've talked about it, and Coach has done an amazing job with his staff cranking on that scheme eval, but I think being more explosive in the running game and really taking advantage of those interior 3 to kind of impose your will on an opposing team's defense. But I mean, the running game takes a lot of pressure off everybody. So I think if we can be more explosive and more effective in the running game, I think obviously we take a lot of pressure off Pat, especially coming back early in the season with the injury. So everything's kind of a puzzle, and I think with a lot of our players, I don't think that there's any one of our free agents that we look and say we don't want these guys back. I mean, they're really good players. We won a lot of games with them. It's just a matter of trying to put the puzzle together and what else is going to be out there, their price points, and kind of fitting the whole thing together. So I think what we do is we just kind of remain in contact and keep that dialogue open. But all those players that you'd mention, or if I didn't mention any of the Chanels and the Cooks and the Watsons, I mean, all these guys we're monitoring, and we're trying to get as many back as we can. Obviously, it's unrealistic to think you will, but we have to be able to go in different directions. I mean, there's some times where you don't think a guy's going to come back here, and then all of a sudden, because you either didn't execute something or someone else took a different deal, things open back up. And so I think you just need to remain flexible and fluid during these situations, but always have, layers of backup plans when you enter this, part of the season. Well, I think it's on the rise to a degree, but typically the better you are and the more higher profile you are, I mean, it's the less leverage you have sometimes, and and then those players follow suit with other players, and everyone kind of does the same thing. So I think it's always been the case where it kind of varies when you get to the degree of each and every player. But that's a good question. I don't know to what percent is it on the rise. I know it's something that all teams utilize, and we do as well. And a lot of it comes down to just kind of the caliber of player or the tier of player. We're doing it when we can. I mean, that's just one of those things we do. And, especially with the guys that have a little bit more injury history. And I mean, there has to be a trade-off too, if you're going to give some guy a contract. And, there is a bit of that injury question. And so I think we always try to implement that. But, I think it varies by player and position.
All right, so that's Brett Veach speaking in Indianapolis. It's not our feed, by the way. Apologies. I know the questions, you could barely hear them. We're in the same boat there. They are in a giant room where they just have podiums, and there's literally 50 media members shouting questions from far away.
$10 trillion business,
with no microphones for the questions. So apologies on that. I do think a few of those you could tell what he was asked because the way he answered the beginning, I think we all caught the Travis Kelce question. Pretty obvious there.
And the running back question.
Yeah. For Kelce, he said, hopefully he comes back. We'll let that process play out. The only part that was a little concerning for me on the Kelce answer was he's like, look, ultimately there is a real deadline, but, it's Travis Kelce. Like,
he's Travis Kelce. Like, and we got to do whatever we can get, essentially.
He said, like, we've got to have a plan in case he's not back. But I hope this doesn't drag on too long. I don't want them being, quote unquote, held hostage, here because of Travis Kelce's decision. I understand he has a right to take however much time he wants. The organization also has to protect themselves. So
in my opinion, the deadline should be free agency.
I want him back. I think he's back. But, yeah, it has to be figured out before the league year starts and before you get to free agency. So, and that could still happen. We're still a couple weeks away from that. So it doesn't have to happen by the end of this week or anything. But I don't want them to be in a spot where free agency opens up, they wait, and they find out at March 30th that he doesn't want to come back. I don't think that's going to happen. That was the only part that stood out to me where they're going to give him as much time as he wants, it sounds like.
That one stood out, and then the running back part of it stood out, only based on the, constant mock drafts that have him taking Jeremiah Love. We have to get more explosive at running back. During the Chiefs Red Half Hour, I'm going to point out a stat that highlights that. Not the fullback part. I was joking about that yesterday. It's more about running back than that. But it is like, if you think in your head, we got to do something, we got to be explosive at back. What are we going to do? Boy, I get the temptation with Jeremiah Love in the sense that you want to talk about instantly more explosive at back. He's that, right, Drew? I mean, he, by all accounts, is a massive, home run hitting style back of the quality of the top guys in the league. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to go that route, but as we'd mentioned yesterday, there are less running backs available than there have been before. I will say Andy, Veach, everybody talks like, we don't care, he's Travis Kelce, we just want him back. I think they understand what I think is the one thing that people don't want to admit, even at his age, even like Carrington or the people who think he might be washed or whatever. I don't think you realize how much better he is than a league average tight end, even at his age. League average tight ends are significantly worse than Travis Kelce last year. There are still 5 guys fine that have maybe passed him in the league finally. Trey McBride and maybe with Bowers when healthy, and we know the names by now of the guys who have jumped up there. But it's hard to get a tight end of that caliber. And so I think that they'll do not anything in the sense that they'll just pay him $20 million a year. But if he's willing to come back, they're going to pay him. they'll figure out a way to pay him, I guess, is the point.
Yeah, coming up next, we'll talk a bit more what Brett Veach had to say, and also what Nate Taylor, who is at the at the Combine in Indianapolis, I'm about to say like the Indianapolis Combine, as if it was like the Indianapolis 500 or something. At the Combine in Indianapolis, what he is reporting on Tyreek Hill. That's coming up next here on Cody Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Future therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
When it was time to paint the inside of our home, we made one call, and that was the Certa Pro painters, and the experience was amazing. They took all the stress about the job away from me, and they'll do the same for you. And now's the time to get that painting project completed that you've been putting off. Each Certa Pro painter's business is independently owned and operated right here in Kansas City. So schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose Certa Pro painters.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tune. Liberty Mutual, saving you bucks by protecting your truck. 'Cause Purdy told me to only pay for what I need. Thank you, Limu. I'll always trust in Limu with Liberty, 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 Liberty.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. Heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Spring savings start early at Lowe's. Get a Cobalt 24-volt max leaf blower for just $99. It's powerful, lightweight, and ready to go. Plus, get 4 bags of Stay Green 1 cubic foot garden soil for just $10. Don't wait. Get everything you need to start on your spring projects today. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 3/4. Soil offer excludes Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
You already listen to 96.5 The Fan, but are you following us? Our Instagram is loaded with show clips, breaking news, mock drafts, and content you can't get on the air, like Thy Royal Decree and Chiefs Take Tuesday. Go to Instagram, search for The Fan 965, and hit that follow button. If you don't do this immediately, Dusty has threatened to do a photo shoot in a bathing suit. Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan. Look out for Max Minute on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This is Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, 11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Coming up in a half hour, we'll get to the Chiefs' red half hour, more on what Brett Veach had to say out in Indianapolis, and we'll hopefully be able to have some audio available for you. Yeah, and we'll get back into what he said about the running backs, Travis Kelce, some other topics as well, heading into the rest of this week with the Combine. Also, a reminder, coming up at 12:30, I guess it's GM Day on the show. We've got the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, joining us at 12:30 as we start up our biweekly conversations with JJ here on Cody and Gold. Do want to start with the Chiefs, though, anyway, here in the 11 o'clock hour. Nate Taylor, who's in Indianapolis, yesterday, toward the end of the show, had some, I don't want to say news as much as it was, certainly some insight on perhaps what the Chiefs are thinking on the Tyreek Hill front. He said that, according to sources, the Chiefs are expected to monitor the progress of his recovery and training, while it's uncertain if Hill will be available for the season opener. And that availability part, if you guys listened last week, we played you the audio from a former team doctor in the league that said, like, he couldn't probably pass a physical right now anyway, and that there's a real chance
he still needs another surgery, reportedly.
He's a mid-season acquisition potential type of candidate. So, as far as this goes, it's pretty simple for me. I'm not really all that interested, but I would be far more interested if you told me it's a scenario where nobody signs him and we check back in October and he's in good health at that point. We know what the Chiefs' offense is more at that point. And if they're a player away and they fix some of the other elements offensively. Because if it's the middle of the season, Cody, and this team is struggling and it's pretty evident that they're not in the position that you want them to be in, well, then there's no point of bringing in Tyreek Hill at that level. In the offseason, my hesitation is not only availability, but also what it means for Xavier Worthy's development and where does Tyreek Hill fit in. So I'm not surprised to hear that the Chiefs are going to keep an eye. By the way, they should. Every organization should be monitoring what is going on with Tyreek Hill. He's had a hell of a career.
So, he is, for the better part of maybe a calendar year now, been posting like someone who regrets a breakup. Whoo, it's bleak. Bleak on the old Instagram. Gold, if you were posting the way he does on Instagram about someone you were with, I'd be like, damn, dude, you got to move on. This stuff's getting sad publicly is how I would feel. I'd be like, you got to get out. You got to get out in the world. See some other people. See what the rest of the world's doing. I'd be worried about you. I'd be like, you are hung up. Something's got to change. So, I obviously, as we've mentioned before, Tyreek Hill's clearly interested in returning. Here's kind of why I'm starting to think it's going to end up happening, even though I've made my feelings clear on whether or not I'd want him back, and I don't think I would. It is the injury. It's the injury part of it that's actually making it more likely for me, because I don't think he's going to be ready. He's going to need another surgery. He's going to need time to recover. And if all of a sudden he's out here signing an October deal on a 1-year deal to pick up with the team, it feels like it'll just end up being Kansas City. Because it's beneficial for both. I know the system. I understand how to operate. I know the quarterback. If I'm just going to pop in and say hello and enter somebody's system, the only two that even make sense at this point for Tyreek Hill are Kansas City or the Chargers, where he can at least be a part of Mike McDaniel's implementation of helping with the offense on the Justin Herbert end and could maybe maneuver some things in a way that would make sense for Tyreek quickly. And so if he's not going to be healthy and he's looking for a rebound possibility, this might be it, because if he was just out of the free agency market, could make whatever, I don't think it'd make any sense here. But because there's some limitations for where he might be physically, I do think the Chiefs are keeping an eye out for could we get Tyreek cheap? We tried to hold on to him. We still think he's probably better than some of the guys we got in system. And he's cheap.
Yeah, that's the only way.
I think that's the part that makes it appealing for them.
The only way I'm at all interested is the midseason part of it. Not really interested in him showing up at camp, but being on the PUP list the first 6 weeks and being around kind of also just done with the whole scenario to begin with.
Yeah,
I think they can move in a different direction and don't need to do that. But we all know they have had no issue in bringing players back inside the organization. It just feels weird that like Kelsey's back, and could they bring back Tyreek Hill? And it's like, this is 2026. This is not 2022 anymore.
No, and there's a point of, and I totally agree with that from like a winning perspective. The real question is, it's just so hard with Tyreek. Look, I've told you all the reasons I don't like it, and including personality and some of the stuff that just fits inside of that. I will say that based on what we've seen out of Rashee Rice and based on what we've seen out of Xavier Worthy, Tyreek Hill's closer to being elite than he might have a higher upside of being an elite level guy than either of those guys, even at their age. Because while Tyreek Hill will be 32 or whatever this season, he's 1 year removed from an almost 1,000-yard season. He's 2 years removed from an 1,800-yard season. And so far, we got about 1,200 yards for the first 2 years for Xavier Worthy, and Rice's is weird because he's been in the league for a while. He's been
as someone that obviously is.
I'm not real interested. I'm just pointing.
Again, this is where only doctors and former athletes can answer it better. How do you have that serious of a knee injury and you come back and he just doesn't miss a beat? I just don't buy it.
Oh, I definitely think he'll be slower. I mean, he can't be as fast as he was before, right?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, and I would think no. Now, someone else, again, with way more expertise on that can be like, well, no, actually, if this goes this way, I would assume there's no way, especially right away. Now, maybe a year from now, he's back to that, but
that's why it has to be cheap.
Yeah,
that's why it has to be dirt cheap. I don't even disagree with you. I obviously think that there'll be, and here's the thing: I don't think the only part of his game is speed. I don't think it's not a part of his game. It's certainly a hell of a weapon, and what has made him elite. You can be as good of a route runner as you want. If you're slow, you can, even at your age, you can find a way to fuddle through the end of Anquan Bolden's career and have some ability on a team that has a benefit. But what makes Tyreek Hill great is awesome speed. He is electric in that department. So yeah, do I have concern that be the case? I just think it's interesting that he's mentioning the reunion as being a good fit and that the Chiefs are monitoring it. And I assume, in fairness, 20 other teams are also keeping an eye out on it. Because, what do you think, the Chiefs are the only team interested in a potential elite-level wide receiver at dirt cheap prices? No, that's everyone in the NFL. Everyone. How old was Randy Moss when he did his couple of years there in New England? I was thinking back to a guy who was elite, no longer, and it wasn't an injury, but no longer looked that way.
Yeah, and that's Randy Moss we're talking about too.
I know.
Tyreek Hill's had a great career, but I don't have to tell you that he's not Randy Moss.
No. I'm just asking age-wise.
He was 30.
Okay, so even younger, still 3 years younger.
Randy Moss was 30 when he went to New England. Had 1,500 yards and 23 touchdowns his first year there.
Won me a fantasy league that year.
Jeez, I forgot.
As you can imagine.
23 touchdowns. He didn't win Offensive Player of the Year because it probably went to a quarterback.
What?
Yeah, he didn't. He finished second in Offensive Player of the Year that year.
What year was that?
what did I just say? 2007, sorry. 2007, he was AP, he's Pro Bowler, All-Pro, Offensive Player of the Year, second.
Did they just
Comeback Player of the Year, second. So some quarterback must have...
What? Second?
Yeah, I'm just reading off what it says on his Pro Football Reference page.
2007, the winner was Tom Brady for Offensive Player of the Year. They just gave him both? That's what it was. He was the 50 touchdowns. They just gave him both.
MVP and Tom Brady.
They didn't even...
MVP and Offensive Player of the Year, yeah.
Normally, they do 1 and 1. They just gave them both to Tom Brady. Now, I got to know who Comeback Player of the Year was because I'm, And look, come back from bad season, right? Not injury, but certainly, that's not exactly the case. I'm just surprised that he didn't win it in 2007. They gave it to Greg Ellis, the defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys, apparently.
He's the last defensive end, I think, that's won it.
It's all quarterback, tight end. There's a safety in Eric Berry.
I think he's the last defensive lineman that's won Comeback Player of the Year.
He is. He's one of very few, in fairness. And I don't know what Greg Ellis did. Was he hurt or something?
No idea. Don't remember.
I don't even remember Greg Ellis, if we're being honest.
Played for the Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
I think coming up in 10 minutes, we'll get to the trash of the day. But let's talk more college basketball. So Stephen A. Smith, he's had some strong takes on Darren Peterson over the last week or so. And my guess is Stephen A.'s probably watched a Kansas basketball game for a grand total of 10 minutes this entire season, is my assumption. But anyway, he was discussing college basketball. And where it's at compared to the NBA right now.
The talent in pro basketball is obviously exponentially better. The game itself, that is college basketball, is more intriguing, more compelling. Let's analyze. First of all, props to college basketball right now because I'm looking at my statistics here. Ratings up 30% across all networks this season. 30% increase in college basketball ratings, okay? Obviously, you got the shorter season, single elimination, postseason, conference races, all of that stuff that comes into play.
Pull up the NBA
Right.
rate. You can't just pull up college, pull up the NBA rate.
Number two, when we look at the NBA game, if it ain't heavy pick and roll, it's three-point shooting. They're launching three-point shots at 37 attempts per team per game, which is the second highest in history compared to only last year, which was worse at 37.6. In college basketball, what do you got? You got true post play, you got zone defense, you got mid-range games, you got all this other stuff going on, right?
Variety.
And so you're seeing the thing about you in terms of analyzing the game of basketball, you're analyzing all of these things, both of y'all. With the NBA, a lot of times they're not giving you an opportunity to because you in iso ball or you pick and rolling or you launching three-point shots. You're not seeing enough post play. You're not seeing enough of a mid-range game from these cats. You're not seeing a lot of those things. And by the way, that's when you see them because of load management like we just been talking about. I mean, we lamented it with Darren Peterson in Kansas, but you ain't seeing that in college basketball for the most part. The talent is exponentially better in the NBA. Of course it is, no doubt about that. But there's an urgency with college basketball that makes it more interesting.
To me, it's pretty simple. One, yes, his point about just the pure talent. Nobody is trying to make that argument. Yeah, the best in the world.
Every NBA team would
the best in the
wipe
world.
the floor with any college team.
The best in the world are in the NBA. There's no question. Now, I think depending on how you phrase it, it's kind of obvious right now when most of the stories around the NBA are what? Most of the stories around tanking and how do they solve this and teams not trying to win. And it's, I think at this point, fair or not, it's just the reality of just the big markets. The Oklahoma City Thunder just won, the NBA Finals. While SGA is a hell of a player, the Oklahoma City Thunder does not people don't gravitate towards that as much as they would if it was the Knicks.
Lakers,
or if it was, it's just the reality. I'm not right or wrong, but that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, it is.
We know that. We live in Kansas City. I think we understand that notion that happens. The NFL is unique in that way because it doesn't matter where you're from. You can be the star. Look at Kansas City.
People will watch it no matter what city.
College basketball, they got their issues too, no doubt. I mean, just a couple years ago, everybody was dogging the hell out of it. I think this year
is still suing the league, still trying to get in Alabama. They got their own problems, yeah.
I do think, though, that college basketball right now is actually in a good spot this year. There's a ton of talent where you've got, whether it's Barron Peterson or DeBonsa and Cam Boozer and a ton of guys that are going to get drafted in the top 5 that are on teams that we should get to see play through the NCAA tournament and have legit Final Four type of runs, or at least caliber teams to do that. And some of those names, the last time Cooper Flagg, of course, was a top pick last year. But, the last time I feel like people were watching an NCAA tournament game for a player was probably Zion Williamson, where people were like, oh, I got to watch that. I don't know if there's a player that's on that level, but there's 5 or 6 players that are somewhat close, and you combine it all, and it leads to intrigue. And we all know, we like the tournament aspect of it, and you're trying to get yourself a spot, and then we all know what March Madness is. I think this year you can make the case that college basketball, yes, is more compelling. It's never good for your sport when people are talking about tanking and all the other stuff more than the actual action on the court, which is what's occurring in the NBA this year.
And they've got electric players in the sense that once of a generational like Wemby, and they've got guys on the court that are
sure.
Whoa, does this guy exist? But it's still not LeBron, even though he is a tremendous player. They don't have that kind of the Michael Jordan, LeBron. They don't have the marketable star, if that makes sense. Wemby could be that, but isn't that as it sits right now. I will say, and this goes back to it, they got a lot of problems. College sports have a lot of problems. NIL. All these coaches can bitch and complain and say the system sucks all they want. It has been tremendous for college sports. Tremendous. These players are getting paid, which means they're staying. Look, the transfer portal, we can have a different conversation about that as it relates to NIL, but it is inarguable that NIL has helped college basketball, has helped college sports. More guys stay in the sport longer. More players get attracted to good schools. all the things that are in place are allowing this to take place. Now, I think some of the reason they're getting a boost specifically this year, Gold, is it just happens to be a particularly good year of college one-and-dones.
Yeah.
Right? DeMonsa, Boozer, Peterson, they just got a good crop. So, like, that is certainly boosting it a little bit, but still.
The thing with the NBA, too, Wemby is taking the throne in terms of face of the league, I think. And that's the problem that I think the NBA has, where MJ was the face of the league, LeBron face of the league. They've asked Ja, they've asked Zion, they've asked
Anthony Edwards is a possibility.
Anthony Edwards has said he doesn't want to be the face of the league publicly. Like, these guys don't want that. That, I think, is an NBA issue where it's not even necessarily marketing, because Wemby's the guy that they have to market essentially at this point, because Anthony Edwards is on record saying, I don't care about being the face of the league. I just want to go out and play. Like, Ja said the same thing. Like, you look at who's next after KD and Steph and LeBron are gone, and it's some really great players, but nobody wants to be that face outside of Wemby saying, I'm willing to do the dunk contest. I'm here to play in this All-Star game and make it competitive. And I think that's what the NBA should at least rally around from that perspective until we get somebody else that wants to be that person.
This sounds really stupid, but this is the America thing. People in the United States are more likely to surround a star who is from the U.S.
And they don't want it.
They're hurt by Wemby. They're hurt that Wemby is their best player. If Wemby was a kid from Jersey, if Wemby was a kid from Texas, people would like him more. That's stupid, and I'm not saying it should be the case. But international star being your biggest star hurts.
Yeah, I mean, this is where in the next year or two, though, where if Cooper Flagg could develop and the Mavericks can get on a certain level, then he might end up being the actual answer as time goes on. Now, I don't know enough about his personality and what he wants as time goes on, but he would be an interesting name. I mean, you're not wrong. I think
it shouldn't hurt, but it does.
So look at the last, other than and SGA's obviously Canadian, but like look at the last, what is it, Drew? The last 10 MVPs. I think was it all but 2 or 1 or something or international? It's something like that. I don't know the exact breakdown, but it's something like that.
But I think it's even beyond I think the league. I think everybody loves Wemby, even the fact that he's French. It's just that there's not a person who is saying, other than Wemby, I want to be the face of the league. So then you just get really good players, but they don't want to encapsulate everything that is the NBA. They don't want to be the face of the NBA. Like, people want to go see Wemby play.
Yes.
There's a difference, though, yeah.
To an extent, I want to see Anthony Edwards play, but he's not box office like LeBron or MJ were. Like, the only person that's that right now, at least, unless you're an NBA diehard, like, I'll go and see anybody play. But if you're a casual fan, you want to go see Wemby play, but that's really
you also have to win so much that people hate you. You have to be a villain. Well, sometimes Wemby's too nice.
Yeah, someone mentioning Anthony Edwards is American. Yeah, he is. We're just saying, like, he said he doesn't really want to be the face of the league, of course. But also, Cade Cunningham is having a hell of a season.
Cade is talking. I like
he's
that.
had a hell of a season, but like we're 8 months into this thing of him being at this level. So like, it's way too early for, even if he wants it. Like, Cade Cunningham's not the face of the league. He's got to do this for another year or two.
I definitely think Cade. If you had to pick an MVP favorite, Cade's probably the MVP favorite right now.
Yeah, if he does this for another year or so, then we could have that conversation about him. He's just, to me, not even on that level of being that player yet. Sustainability. It's right now. It's a 1 year stretch of success. And to answer your question, SGA is the favorite, then Jokic, and then Cade
SGA
Cunningham.
shouldn't win MVP. It should be Cade
right now. Yeah, but a lot of games left. Yeah,
I think that, and again, I appreciate Cade for this too, because Cade called out SGA, he called out Luka, he called out Jokic.
Good.
He said 3 of your top 5 favorite players are all floppers. They all draw fouls. They're foul bait. I love it. Like, if there was an American that you could put as that person who wants to talk that talk and be that person, evidently it's Cade, because he said what he said, and then he went against those guys and played better than them the other night. Like, I think that in terms of what Cade brings to the table from a talking perspective, from a I want to be that guy perspective, Ant is talented enough. He doesn't want to do that. I think Cade at least is willing to accept that challenge. And I think that's also part of it. Not only do you have to be great, but also being able to talk that talk and be able to talk trash about others while also backing up your own game is something that's necessary.
Win. Like, in the end, like, if Cade takes down the NBA right now. I know, but if he takes down SGA in an NBA Finals and then they face each other another year, then yeah.
But SGA's not the face of the league.
It's rare for a guy like LeBron to just be on the cover of SI, immediately show up and just be a star.
I don't know if it matters that you beat SGA, because it's more about the team it's more about the Thunder than it is SGA. Then you're beating SGA.
I just think for the Pistons this year, Kate Cunningham needs to get to an Eastern Conference Finals and needs, you know what I mean, and get to an NBA Finals for it to get to that level for him. And look, the Pistons have a shot. I mean, it's pretty jumbled right now. I mean, Boston's going to get Jason Tatum back here soon. That could change everything for them as well. All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right, this has to do with someone trying to come up with a better way and a cheaper way to heat their home. This is a Polish man that's figured out something that's cheaper to burn for heat than wood. Okay, and he has a home to
I'm
prove it.
I'm concerned about what the answer to this is.
This guy, last name is Hoffman, was tired of paying too much to keep his log burner going.
Quarts of wood are kind of expensive.
Started doing the math on alternatives to wood. Noticed that a single LIDL, it's a type of donut there, Lidl donut, costs around 3 cents and contains 440 calories.
Like a grocery store.
Okay? Since the calorie measures how much heat something produces when burned, he worked out that 133 donuts would match the heat output of 22 pounds of wood while costing him just $3.36 compared to $5.31 for the equivalent amount of firewood. So after making a small air gap in his stove to get things burning properly, he tested it. In 5 hours, his home went from 57 degrees all the way up to 72.
Burning donuts?
Proving the concept worked. He said he was simply curious whether the numbers would add up. So he's burning donuts to save money and heat his home.
For $2, dude.
Does it smell pretty good?
I would think it smells a lot sweeter than
firewood.
Wood,
I love the firewood and that vibe.
Yeah,
of that.
I like that smell too. But
and
also,
you don't get the crackle. There's no crackle when you're burning the donuts. I get the crackle of the wood.
Well, and I think it's like a more satisfying thing to like look at, right? Like, Gold, if you just had a bunch of like melted donuts in your fireplace. Also, how does that clean up? Like, I know how to clean up ash
right?
and this
Would
other
it just
stuff.
burn off? Wouldn't the sugar just burn off eventually?
I don't know. It's a real question. Obviously, it's the very beginning state. I don't want to burn donuts in my outdoor fire pit. I'm not burning it inside. I'm not dealing with that kind of issue.
Yeah.
I also we've never tried to make our fireplace work.
Oh.
It might very well work.
We need to have somebody come out and clean it and check everything out.
Whoever put in the hardwood floors, we have a gas starter in our fireplace that is installed underneath. Yeah. It has a little key. I have the key.
Yeah.
Whoever installed the hardwood floors buried the key part.
Oh, jeez.
So I'd have to get like a metal detector just to like cut a hole in so I could know where the.
Why did they go over the key part?
I don't know. Now look, I could just start a fire without the gas starter. It's not a big deal. We did it a lot as kids, so it's not that big a deal. But I got to get the liner checked and all that stuff. I just haven't gone through the trouble yet. But I burn wood outside, right? And I keep firewood. I pick up all the branches in my yard and break them up and keep a big pile so I can slowly over time have firewood. Because if you go to just the grocery store for a quart of wood, they're asking astronomical prices.
Sure.
Crazy prices for wood. I'm just going to go, and I don't think I'm allowed to. I'm just going to go down to the park and I can find some branches. I'm not out here spinning regular firewood.
Hold on. You go
I'm
to
not paying.
Hold on. You go to the park.
I usually just get from my yard.
Find. Well, yeah, from your yard makes sense. You go to the park to grab wood?
If I got to, yeah.
Just go in your backyard.
Usually I have enough in my backyard. I've got 7 or 8 trees.
Or
I don't have any trouble.
Somebody on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll have bundles of firewood or whatever.
The firewood at the store is dried and ready to be burned, so it's not too smoky.
Okay.
And you gotta you gotta treat it a certain way. You gotta keep it covered and dry so that
says Cody and fire just screams issues. Danger. They think you're dangerous around fire.
No. I'm very accustomed to it. That was we joke about the cabin. It's a wood-burning stove there. There's no power.
Yeah, so what are you doing?
You burn wood in a wood-burning stove.
What about donuts?
Should I have been using donuts this whole time?
You'll ruin the whole stove.
Oh, my God. That thing's 100. The stove in that house, it's got a copyright date that says 18-something.
That's amazing.
I can't be ruining it with donuts. Happy camper. Just like a little wood-burning.
So this guy's saving a couple dollars. He's saving less than $2.
That's the part. Is it $2 a day, a week? What? If it's $2 a day, we're talking.
I think a day.
If it's $2 a month, that's insane.
A day.
$2 a day. I mean, that'd save you,
across a year,
Yeah, $700-800. Ends up, or I guess, right around there.
Someone says, Cody, last year, didn't someone dump wood at your house?
Someone dropped a tree. They just cut down a whole tree. They didn't leave the wood. It was just gone.
Oh, you didn't get the wood.
I came home from work and it was gone.
Okay. That's the trash of the day.
They did eventually say that the apartment complex near me eventually admitted to cutting it down. And they were like,
did you get compensated?
No. They just said, we're pretty sure that that's our tree. And I said, well, your lawn people who come here, they don't mow that.
So there
part of
was
the
nothing,
grass.
no apology, nothing.
No, they didn't seem all that. Well, for the same reason. They apologize and they admit guilt. But I did tell them, I said, hey, if that is part of it, I have been mowing that area. I don't want to mow that area anymore. You get the lawn people on it. They said, okay, at the time. We'll see if it happens come summer.
Oh, you haven't found out if they're actually
No, I don't
doing
know
it.
if they'll actually take care of it.
They're not going to.
But I had to try, right?
They just wanted to get you out of the office.
They wanted to get rid of that
get this guy out of here. Just what do we got to tell him to get him to move along? Move along. Get him out of here.
We're good here, sir.
That's all it is.
Thanks.
Up next, we'll get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. One stat that maybe highlights what Brett Veach even just said about the backfield. That's next here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
We were just talking about the NBA, and have you ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Maybe it's a bucket list item for you. Well, now is your chance, courtesy of FanDuel. All you have to do, use your profit boost on an NBA future. You'll be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. NBA Futures let you lock in your pick for who you think will go all the way, whether it's a team to win the championship or a conference title. Maybe you do think Cade Cunningham and the Pistons can make it happen in the Eastern Conference. You can make a futures bet for them to win the East or even to win the NBA Finals. Just visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit one entry for Profit Boost token. Opt-in required. Must apply Profit Boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry, at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included.
Plus, get online in no time with same-day Wi-Fi.
Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025. Actual speeds vary. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to the premises by coaxial cable.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
Advent Health welcomes the KC Golf Show February 27th through March 1st at the Overland Park Convention Center. Grab front door bonus golf while it lasts. Enjoy the Vital Stretch Zone. Saturday's women's events and test big brands with Golf MD at the Golf Show February 27th through March 1st. All at the OP Convention Center. Thanks to Genesis of Kansas City, Orange Whip, RMI Golf Carts, Arnold Palmer Spiked, Yingling Flight, Hereford House, Alabama Golf Trail, Edward Jones, and Tito's Vodka. Special tickets at KansasCityGolfShow.com.
When the cold sets in across KC, AB May is the trusted name for keeping your home warm, safe, and secure. From furnace repairs to system replacements, we deliver reliable solutions and unmatched care and professionalism. Whether it's a sudden breakdown or routine maintenance, AB May is here to help. Trust Trusted by generations of Kansas City homeowners, we're committed to doing things the right way every time. Call AB May at 913-732-9993 or visit us at abmay.com.
Call your serviceman from AB May.
DQ presents The Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve, plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
Let's go! You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement. Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Drew, did you, I had offered many times to have you help me with my kitchen renovation. Did you see on Instagram, were you jealous that you didn't get a chance to help? I posted the after photo.
I will say, I'm not necessarily jealous that I didn't get to help, but I was impressed.
See, I'll take that. New backsplash, sprayed out cabinets, new hardware.
It looks good.
I did see it.
I thought it turned out nice. I'm very happy.
It looks good. I like the tile.
The backsplash?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's much better than
I like the
old
tile better. The cabinet color, like without seeing the whole room, like I don't know if it's like the color. I don't know. Like it depends on.
It reads a little bit different in real life, and everybody's not going to go with that color for their cabinetry. So I get that.
The backsplash is what I probably like the best between the two. Like I think that's the part that looks the best. Yeah. Like the change on that. So you do a good job, man.
Yeah, very good job.
You could have come and helped. You could have learned a life skill. Do you think that Drew? Let's say a year from now he bought a house. He's living in Kansas City.
I hope so.
He bought a house, and he, they want to fix up some stuff. They save a little money. They want to fix up some stuff. Do you think he'd ask me for help? Or
Yeah,
do you think
would.
he'd head straight to YouTube first?
Well, YouTube might be first, but I would ask for your advice probably, given that you are a homeowner. Like I would say, hey,
or to borrow a tool, that could help.
Like a suggestion for something, or
Never be afraid to borrow a tool. Like when I had to dig those fence posts, somebody I knew had a big gas-powered auger. I'm like, jackpot. I'm gonna hand dig this like an idiot? No chance. Just borrow stuff, Gold. You have a drill, right? No, you don't have a drill. We discussed this.
I have an apartment. What do I need a drill for?
I don't know. I thought you had I don't know. Like a drill feels like a tool that could be useful even in an apartment.
What am I
I
using?
I don't know how often you're using.
That's what I'm saying. Truly, why do I need one? What am I doing? I can't do much with the apartment.
It just feels
hanging
like
photos of TVs.
If I were to list out basic tools, I feel like most people own. Hammer.
For sure.
Screwdriver.
Yep, got it.
Drill's pretty close on the low end.
In an apartment, I agree with you if I had a house, but in an apartment, I don't know. When am I using the drill?
Fair enough.
That's all I'm saying. Anyway, coming up at 12:30, we're going to talk to the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, as spring training continues, of course. And we'll ask him about Isaac Collins, who was in the lineup for the first time this spring as a member of the Royals. Thinking of general managers, though, Brett Veach spoke in Indianapolis. We played some of what he had to say. Again, apologies for the audio. It's not our feed out there. That was the Chiefs feed and the way they have it set up out there. It's hard to hear the questions. But he very clearly acknowledged what we all kind of know, but I don't know. It's always nice to hear it from the GM, which is they got to be more explosive in the backfield. Now, I hope this is truly I hope this is not one of those smokescreen type of things, Cody, where it's like we got to get more explosive. Then all of a sudden they end up just running back room that only has Brashard Smith, and they spend like a 3rd round pick and they just go with that with Dameon Pierce, and they think they're good. I hope they truly mean, and it's always hard to judge at the combine what's real, what's fake. Truly think they need to get more explosive. Now, I, as you guys know, would prefer free agency more than spending number 9 overall on Jeremiah Love. But listen to Brett Veach earlier in Indianapolis talking about the run game.
Well, I think it's certainly we want to get more explosive in the running game, and we've invested in that interior, and with Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, 2 of the best in the league, and we thought Kingsley made a big step. Those are 3 talented interior players. So I think, and we've talked about it, and Coach has done an amazing job with his staff cranking on that scheme eval, but I think being more explosive in the running game and really taking advantage of those interior 3 to kind of impose your will on an opposing team's defense. But the running game takes a lot of pressure off everybody. So I think if we can be more explosive and more effective in the running game, I think obviously we take a lot of pressure off Pat, especially coming back early in the season with the injury.
Yeah, he was asked, how do you protect Mahomes coming back from the ACL? And the run game. I fully agree with what he said. I just actions, right? Actions will tell us if they truly are serious about that, but I love hearing it.
I got to say, I do think that they're serious about it. I think the report from Pete Sweeney over the weekend that they're interested in Travis Etienne is real. Yeah. I think some of the smoke around Jeremiah Love is real. I think that but it could just be the 40th overall pick. It could just be the 74th overall pick. There are other areas in which they could legitimately address explosiveness at the running back. And those things matter. And look, I'm going to point out a stat and then we can keep talking about the stuff Brett Veach said. Over the weekend, I think it was, how about those Chiefs? But a stat had been uncovered that I think is really worth looking at, which is the Chiefs in the NFL this year faced the most often light box scenario than anyone in the league. 40% of the time this year, it's a little over actually, the Chiefs faced a light situation when it came to running. So how? How were you not successful? And that really speaks to the quality of running backs they had. But they have Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, who Brett Veach admits, and I think we all admit, are some of the best interior guys on the offensive line in the league. You faced 40% of the time a light scenario, as in they were essentially just daring you to run, and you still stunk at it? How? So, to me, the simple solution is, okay, let me calculate. Then I have a running back who can do it. They got nobody back there with any kind of explosiveness. And if they just had one back who was capable of getting a 10-plus yard run on accident occasionally, everything they faced defensively was favorable to it. Everything they faced should be good for an elite-level running back. That's why I think they will seriously consider Love at 9. I don't think they should take him, but it's why I don't think that they're going to just take it off of their board gold, even if you and I think they should. I'd just sign Etienne or Algier, and I'd go draft a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round, and I'd go about my day that way.
If we get 2 weeks into free agency and they haven't signed one of the better names, at least in the backfield, then I will believe more and more that they would take Love at 9. That's just why I would like them to address it, so they're not forced into feeling like they actually have to take Jeremiah Love. I'll just remind people though, whether it's this press conference or media availability, or it's the one we're going to get the week of the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, there's a lot of smokescreen stuff that gets thrown out there, especially around the draft. The combine, it's not quite as bad today as what you'll get. It's part of their job to kind of lie and fib during these settings, and that I do think that extends to the combine a little bit.
Yeah, when I see Spytek, who talked earlier today, every GM's going to talk either today, tomorrow, whatever. When I see Spytek say, "Oh, we're not in the business of giving away great players. We expect Max Crosby to be a Raider." What I hear is, "Please give us more for our trade, please. Up the offers, fellas.
Sure.
We would never get rid of Max Crosby." And I saw the comments from Brett Veach on Trent McDuffie too. Although in fairness, not that firm. He said, we'd love to get something long-term.
This was the audio of that.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of dialogue with Trent. Looking forward to get with him, and obviously Trent's a great player and see what we can do there, but certainly love to have Trent back and for the long term.
It was very telling to me. I think we have the audio from last spring. I think it was last spring where around the draft, you guys remember what Brett Veach said when he was asked about a McDuffie extension then. And it was, I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically like, well, his agent represents a bunch of guys in the draft, really busy. We're not going to try to bug. We're not going to try to bug him right now. We'll circle back. That's because they know they're not close on a deal, and they don't. It's not something that they're made much progress on then. And now he basically acknowledged they haven't even really been in communication. Sure, sound like it ain't been in communication. On a deal.
What's interesting is he got to hide behind his agent's really busy, and there's other guys we're taking care of, right? They were working on these other long-term deals and who to sign, and like they had other irons in the fire, right? It wasn't just him; it was Trey and this and that, and so like, we got to get this one done, then we could get this one done, and then that one done, and oops, just ran out of time for Trent. There's literally no one to sign a long-term extension to. The only player that they even have to consider getting a long-term deal won this offseason is Trent McDuffie. No offense, the way I read that is, we'd love to have him. He didn't say, no, we'd never trade him. He didn't say...
No, should he? You never should say that publicly.
No,
anyway.
I know.
Yeah.
He didn't say, no, we'd never trade him. He didn't say, yes, we would trade him. He didn't say anything. He just said, we're always talking about deals. Who wouldn't, I'm always out there, having conversations. And so... that part of it is always interesting to me and will continue to be interesting to me. But we said this yesterday. I don't think they're ruling it out, right? I don't know. Why would they?
No, they should consider everything involving Trent McDuffie. He also was just asked about where they're at cap wise, because we know they cut Mike Dana yesterday. They free up about $8.9 million. It's a move they needed to make. There's also some other moves that they could make, like a Juwan Taylor cut that could save $20 million. He was asked about the flexibility there and also why they moved on from Mike Dana.
With Juwan, Mike Dana was a little unique and different. Mike Dana was in the building this week. I had a chance to talk to Mike, have a lot of respect for him, and wanted to just have that opportunity, since I saw him this weekend, to just let him go out there and see what his market is, and we'll remain in contact. And I think with guys like Juwan and Drew Tranquil, someone asked me about earlier, these guys started for us, and they play a lot of football for us. And again, our cap situation, I don't know if we're 6 or 7 over, but I think we have $60 million in convertible contracts too. So, we have many different ways to attack this. And I think that's the one thing that we've been good at. We don't do a lot of money pushed out in the future years. And I think we run a pretty tight ship there. So this gives us flexibility to do different things. So again, that's part of the process with all those guys, and we'll see how the scenario shake out.
I still would be shocked if Juwan Taylor is not cut. I know what he's saying. He played a lot of football games for us. Like Drew Tranquil, I think there's a scenario where he comes back still. Juwan Taylor, I just don't see, with knowing that Jalen Moore's under contract as well. And we're going to talk about an offensive line report that's out there in the noon hour. It makes no sense, but I don't think there's any way Juwan Taylor is on this roster.
There's
next year.
I guess the only way he's saying that is the same way as I just read it with Spy Tech. Is there a team dumb enough to take on that number?
Not that contract. I don't think
I'm just asking,
contract.
Is there, like, for a 7th, for a 6th? People do have a hard time finding starting tackles. It's why the Chiefs have Juwan Taylor for years.
I think Houston would do it. I think the Raiders
That's what I'm asking.
It.
Is there a team dumb enough to take on a guy
so they would be
who
trading,
has been a starter pretty much his entire career?
What do so you trade for him. You got 1 year, he's 20. So you're not giving up much if that's the case. $27 million cap hit next year.
I'm just saying, for a team that doesn't have a 6th or 7th round pick.
Yeah.
Like, is there a team that, for the acquiring team, could the Chiefs save just as much money as they normally would for a guy like Juwan Taylor?
I mean, shoot, I'm willing to cut him.
Or are they going to trade Jalen Moore and actually start Juwan Taylor one more year at $27 million?
I'm willing to cut him. So if you're telling me someone wants to give the Chiefs a 6th round pick, then obviously
take it, yeah.
I would do that. I don't know. We'll see. They can free $20 million.
They can.
That's the big part about that. And as he said, there's $60 million worth of contracts on the roster. If they wanted to convert, now I hope they don't convert all of them, and they won't, but they've got an ability to free up a ton of space. We went through the list a week ago. And yes, Juwan Taylor's the biggest on there. There's some restructure candidates. I don't want them to mess with Chris Jones' contract. Been on the record with that for a couple weeks. To me, it sucks to see the $40 million number next to Chris Jones' name. I just think you roll with it for 26, though.
Like, this goes back to the Jalen Moore, because that's the other, I'd mentioned there's no one to sign an extension to. I meant like a real extension. Jalen Moore, I think, still should make sense as an extension candidate, as a possibility. More than anything, I think the thing that he's probably truthful about, and that they've tried multiple times, and I think that they still, maybe this is a mistake, maybe not. I think that there is still a big part of them that thinks that 2018 Chiefs is there. Like, it's available. That they have Patrick Mahomes and they should still be able to light up a scoreboard one of these years. The way that Tom Brady at one point in his career had kind of settled into, they were a league average offense, they were fine, and then they turned it back on for a few years, right? The light came back on and everybody was there. And they go back to rookie year Kareem Hunt. The first 6 games before Kareem Hunt got kicked off the team. Even like the part of the way they operated an offense. And I know that it's hard to remember this because he didn't turn out to be that player. Rookie year Clyde Edwards-Helaire and the way that they were operating with Tyreek and Travis Kelce had some of that magic. It wasn't 2018, but they were humming a little bit and had some electric playmaking ability that they could take advantage of. I think that they still see the running back part and the ability to do that as a part of this. And for the same reason I gave you those stats and to protect Mahomes, I don't think that should be ignored.
Right.
How do I protect Mahomes coming off an injury? How do I make sure things are square for a year while he recovers still but has to play for us? Well, maybe I don't make him throw as much. Maybe we run more. Those things could be, running back could help that hypothetically,
The other notable thing that Brett Veach was asked, of course, was Travis Kelce, who has not made his decision yet on whether he's coming back or not. Here's what Brett Veach said and how they're handling it. It sounded like maybe a different approach than they did a year ago.
Yeah, I think we've kind of taken a different approach with Travis in the sense that I think, we've kind of prepared for either scenario. And Coach had mentioned on Friday, he's had great dialogue with Travis on our end, myself, Crochet, Travis's crew. We've had some good dialogue there. And I'm sure we're going to see him here just like we will all the other players' agents, and we'll continue that dialogue. But Travis is the best. He's an icon, and hopefully he comes back, and we'll just kind of let that process play out.
I will say Brett Veach's recent history, and look, Travis Kelce's a free agent, but it's different, and I hope that Travis Kelce comes back. Yeah. Because I think that they need something consistent on offense, and right now, between maybe a looming suspension with Rice and everything else that's there, you and I both agree there's got to be a deadline before the league year. That's it. Not a hard deadline of anything else up to that point, but, hey, man,
it can't
March
be April.
5th,
It can't be April and you don't know.
Hell no. It can't be pre-draft. We got to make you can't go into the year where you're then forced to try to you got to really consider Sadiq or the kid out of Vanderbilt. Is that the one that Stowers? Is that where he's out of? Vanderbilt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eli Stowers.
Couldn't remember. I just remember it was one of those brown and gold schools. I almost said Purdue. Vanderbilt, I could have said the Tigers, I guess, based on that. But when you start looking through it, they're black, but you get the point.
You're good. I got you. I'm following.
When you look at the different ends of it, I think that you can't put them in a position where they have to take a tight end in the top 3 rounds. Because then it's if they don't address running back in free agency, then they have to take a running back. Don't address tight end because they got to take a tight end. Then what's left to help the defensive line? Nothing. Nothing to help corner. Nothing. Safety. Nothing. There's no picks left. None of guys were going to play right away. Then you got to play Hicks every down, right? Then you're just forcing your hand. And I think that historically, the Chiefs don't like doing that. I mentioned Dana real quick. Brett Veach, where's your... the last couple of years would really shake your confidence in his ability to find a free agent, I guess is why I'm asking. So last year, he signed Dana, Minihue, Hollywood Brown, Tillery, Hunt, Noddy, and Pennell, and Mike Edwards. Other than and I hate to say this, was Hunt the biggest impact player out of the list of guys I just mentioned as a free agent signings last year?
No, their free agent signings last year were not good. They're terrible.
So I think there's a lot of people who just don't think Brett Veach can find it anymore. Is that, and I'm not there.
My only thing with that, my only
push
pushback with that is it's not a 5-year sample. It's not a 4-year sample. I mean,
that's a 1-year sample. He missed bad last year, yeah.
We're 2+ years, maybe not even 2+, but I guess we're going on heading into the third, where we were just praising this initial signing of Drew Tranquill and how great that was, for example. You know what I mean? So we're not that far off. I think sometimes twice. I'm not saying he's immune to criticism. He has made some moves I would never have made, and he certainly has whiffed on certain draft picks and certain moves. But this idea, and I don't, whoever, whether you're talking about Howie Roseman in Philadelphia or whatever, this idea that like every single offseason,
everybody hits.
That's just not reality.
Tyke won too. He was a good offseason signing.
That's not reality. Now, we all can still at the same time acknowledge that if there was an offseason where you need to get it right, this is it. Where you were at with a 6-win team, you don't have a ton of draft picks. You're up against it with the cap. You need to kind of reset things a little bit, retool. Like, yeah, it's extremely important. No GM goes on a 5-year run of hitting every top pick and hitting every key free agent signing. So both can be true to me. Like, they whiffed last free agency. It doesn't mean suddenly I think that he just doesn't know how to evaluate free agents.
That he just doesn't have it anymore, right? And look, the year before, I'm looking at his free agent signings. Because I didn't even mention Elijah Mitchell, who was even less of a valuable asset.
Yeah, and this was
in there as well. But again, Tyquan Thornton was a valuable player.
And this was Brett Veach in Indianapolis at the Combine less than an hour ago, discussing the offseason and the importance around it.
I think every year, I mean, it's a challenge, and we do have some flexibility with how we're set up to do some different things. But it's not like we have $90 million in cap space, and we have to execute an efficient game plan in free agency, and then we got to nail these picks, and that'll be important for us to keep this run going. Obviously, we had a step back last year, and everyone's disappointed, and but everyone's motivated, and even the coaching staff too. Like I said, the last few years we haven't had a chance to really get with them much before the Combine, and right after that Vegas game, I mean, those guys were all in, and it was exciting and energetic in a way just to get out there. And I think the last few years, we were kind of just like in a maintenance stage, and now we're trying to just rebuild this thing again. And I think for a GM and a personnel staff, that's exciting.
Like just 2 years ago, here was his offseason. Allegretti, who ended up being a valuable guard to them in a Super Bowl run because they needed the depth. Mike Edwards, who was actually a valuable player to them then. Drew Tranquill, who obviously had his best year as a pro with the Chiefs during that time. And then a bunch of, Justin Watson, who played a valuable role. Tommy Townsend, who was signed as a free agent, who was fine, obviously.
Well, no, they drafted.
They drafted him. Sorry. He was signed after the draft. My bad. Blaine Gabbert, and then a couple of guys you've never heard of. Brian Cowart and Phil Hoskins. And then Jawan Taylor and Charles Omenihu. Now, at the time, Jawan Taylor, they desperately needed
he went undrafted. I'm sorry, Cody. He undrafted.
Oh,
he was
sorry, he was
undrafted free. So
it's fine. Same difference.
Yeah.
Drafted is the same.
Yeah.
Jawan Taylor, who ended up being a starter and was the tackle. It wasn't a bad signing then. It's the length of time you got stuck with it. And Charles Omenihu, this is the problem I think that I've noticed in recent. It's not the first time he drafts these players, not the first time he signs these players. It's this insistence that you owe them something because they performed for you. Yeah. It's why if I'm Dallas, I'm worried about them signing Javonte Williams. Drew Tranquill was a great signing. Take the win. You don't have to give him another contract. Mike Edwards was a good signing in 2023. Take the win. You don't have Charles Omenihu. You don't have to bring them all back. Mike Dana was a good draft pick. You don't have to sign him again. Just because it worked once doesn't mean it's just going to work in perpetuity with that player. My problem is this insistence that you have to bring this player back and bring this player back and bring this player back and see how many times you can roll the dice before you crap out. And the issue is that lately they keep bringing Hollywood Brown back and bringing these guys back. And the second or third time you're bringing them back, I'm not interested anymore. It's not working out.
I mean, he even said they were going to keep in touch with Dana. He was like, I wanted them to test the market, but we'll keep in touch.
Look, if it's a 1 year, $2 million deal, I don't really care. But they get Dana 3 for 24,
What he said there was essentially what they said about Omenihu last year, which is we're going to let him test the market, and then Omenihu, the market was not good, and so that's why he came back. And look, other teams were correct in their evaluation. He was terrible last year.
His market was bad, and it should have been bad.
Mike Dana, for his sake, maybe he gets a nice deal, but if not, there's a scenario, where he's just out there, and it's the end of March and early April, and he's still available. So we'll see. It kind of sounded similar to that. They're also, based on the fact that he talked in person with Mike Dana this past week, I'm sure it's one of those where they're trying to soften the blow of cutting him a little bit. We're not closing the door entirely. It's not that we don't like you, but we also congratulations, you signed a great contract for you. We screwed up, and enjoy your money.
I know, but that was thanks. Good job on the signing bonus. But that's the same as just getting broken up with him being like, look, I'm just not in a place right now where I can date, but you're nice. You're great. You're a great guy. Okay, cool.
Nothing worse than hearing that. Nothing worse than hearing that. I think you're a great person, great guy.
That's essentially what they just did to Dana, right?
Yeah.
I
Pretty
think you're
much.
a great person. You're a great guy. I'm just not in a place right now that I can, that I can commit to something like this. But good luck, seriously.
Coming up next.
Then she's on a date next week, and you're like, damn.
Coming up next, let's get to what's trending. Then we'll talk more about Kansas's big win against Houston and a report out there about the Chiefs' interest in a tackle. That it makes zero sense to me. We'll talk it out next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Liberty Mutual customized this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
When you choose CertaPro Painters, you're not just hiring a service, you're partnering with a trusted local professional with over 70,000 five-star reviews to make your house feel like home. And that's exactly why we chose CertaPro Painting for all of our painting needs and why our friends and family have done the same. Each CertaPro painter is independently owned and operated right here in Kansas City. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Sex, intimacy, love. These three things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Legendary doesn't happen by chance. It happens because it's what BetMGM does. Sign up for BetMGM using bonus code DUSTY and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Get into hockey, basketball, and more of your favorite sports with same-game parlays. That's what I do. I love it a lot. Live betting and more. Earn BetMGM reward points on every single bet. Take advantage of offers found nowhere else, and keep an eye out for your rewards dropping in your account throughout the year. So again, sign up with bonus code DUSTY and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsible. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-323-8922. 800-323-8922. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-323-8922.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high. Rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. If your retirement is mostly stocks and bonds, you may be taking a risk, more risk than you think. And when you're near retirement, a sharp drawdown at the wrong time can do real damage. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all Americans' smart money uses to hedge against instability. Its precious metals, silver, and gold is having a spectacular bull run. Would it not make sense to get in before the rocket takes off? Monetary Gold have been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. They have the experience to help tailor your portfolio to your needs. If you call now, they will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. That's 877-NOW-GOLD.
Beyond the Pitch KC, a new podcast hosted by Scott Parks and Rob Brenton, telling the stories behind the World Cup in Kansas City. Starts Wednesday, March 4th on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station. What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
#1 on what's trending. It was the Kansas Jayhawks getting a win last night at Allen Fieldhouse, 69-56. Bill Self now 41-0 on Big Mondays at home. Trey White was the story on the court, though. 23 points in 28 minutes, including a perfect 8 of 8 from the free throw line. KU had a 4-point lead at the half. They never gave up that lead. It was a dicey first, I don't know, let's call it 14 minutes, 15 minutes or so of the game. Did not look promising for the Jayhawks.
They went on a 9-minute scoring field goal drought.
Then went on an 11-0 run heading into halftime, I think it was. We're going to talk more about this game. Big time win for them. Another ranked win for them after embarrassing performance on Saturday. They follow it up with that one against the #5 team in the country.
Next up,
I was going to say Missouri in action tonight. They're going to host Tennessee, number 22 Tennessee in Columbia.
We just got some tickets offered to us from work. You want to go? Me and you out to Columbia.
You want to get back at 2 a.m.?
Watch Tennessee, top 25 team in Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll pass. We wouldn't get back home till like 1:30 in the morning or 2.
Carrington's been to. Have you been to a game in Columbia before?
Back in years. I mean, the last time KU played MU.
Oh, that was the last.
Before
okay.
before they started
Is that the only time?
Before the last time they started it up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't frequent Columbia, Missouri all that often.
Fair. Next up on What's Trending, a lot of news and notes out of the NFL Combine as GMs are all speaking. Omar Khan, the GM of the Steelers, says Aaron Rodgers knows how we feel as they continue to try to woo him back. Eric DeCosta, the GM of the Ravens, had said that they're confident they can get an extension done with Lamar Jackson. We didn't realize they kind of have to. He's a $76 million cap hit this year for the Baltimore Ravens, so that could open up stuff. Plus, of course, Brett Veach talked on cutting Mike Dana and others. So there's a lot of news and notes if you want to follow up in the NFL. A lot of people talking, including, like John Spytek said that they're confident Max Crosby will be a Raider next season. So you can decide what's fake, what's real, but a lot of GMs talking out there at the Combine.
On the baseball front, we're going to be joined by Royals General Manager JJ Picollo coming up at 12:30. Just some small baseball news. Today, the Braves and Chris Sale are agreement on a 1-year, $27 million extension, including a club option. Of course, the future Hall of Famer keeps him from reaching free agency next year. That's why they did it. But he's 37. He turns 37, I should say, on March 30th. And he's really been able to kind of resurrect his career. He had 5 injury seasons, then won the NL Cy Young in 2024. And the deal announced Tuesday by the Braves adds a year to his current contract that has a $30 million option with no buyout for the 2028 season.
Next up on What's Trending, the Lions will host an NFL game in Munich next year, adding to the long, and I do mean long, list of international games right now. No sign of the Chiefs on the international schedule yet. Does seem of note. There's a couple of possibilities. Alex and I were going through them, including the Falcons and the Cincinnati Bengals, which is 2 other places they could potentially land. We'll see whether or not they do. Currently, they're not on the international schedule as we continue to get more of it filled out.
Yesterday, we told you the tush push. At this point, there's not much of a push for it to get banned. Well, the tush push has been banned in the UFL.
Oh, lame.
Yeah, in the UFL.
Did you see the other stuff that they're doing?
Yeah, 4 points or whatever.
4 points for a kick over 60 yards, and you are no longer allowed to punt from the opponent's side of the field.
That's amazing.
So, like,
that part's amazing.
Oh, hell yeah. That'd be fun. I know that it's gimmicky.
Although,
and like if I'm watching the NFL, I don't know if I want my team having to do it, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, 4 points for 60-plus yarders. That seems backwards. Like, we're now in an era, I thought, where kickers are making 50-yarders and stuff with ease.
Yeah, but not 60.
No, but why are we adding more points? If anything, this would be the extreme. If anything, let's go backwards.
Two points under 30.
Yeah.
3 points for anything before 60.
Yeah.
How about this? Oh, yeah, now we're talking. 2 points, anything under 35 yards. 35 to 60 will give you 3 points. Anything over 64 points.
Yeah.
It's like the hot spot in the old NBA rock and jock. MTV, sorry.
The UFL is gimmicky, but they did it out. They're at least banning the tush push. Props to them for that.
At least they did it. Next up on What's Trending, 3-time Pro Bowl tight end Zach Ertz will play a 14th NFL season, is expected to be cleared around week 1. That according to multiple sources now. I thought he was done. After that injury, I thought that'd be the end of his career, but Zach Ertz is going to come back for one more.
That is what's trending.
I mean, if he wants to play, I'm not going to fight him. You know?
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Well, I'm glad you're not going to fight him, Cody.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're not.
Would you like any of those UFO rules for the NFL other than the tush push? How would you feel about 4-point field goals or having to go for it on the plus side of the field?
I do like the idea that you can't punt from your opponent's side of the field. Like that's.
But what if it's 4th and 13 from the 39? Can I set a rule that if it's over 10 yards,
Sure.
like if it's 4th and 10, if it's more than 10 yards, if it's like 4th and 13 and I'm on the 49,
That's fair. Okay.
Can I punt then? Like, don't force me to go for it then.
If it's under 4th and 10 and you're on your opponent's, then you have to go for it. Opponent's side of the field, you have to go for it. Okay.
I mean, inside of what? The 40 everybody in the NFL's kicking anymore anyway. We're talking about a 9-yard variance of forcing a team to go for it. We're not, it's not like some big.
Yeah, you're at your opponent's 47-yard line.
And it's 4th and 3. They're just saying, you got to go for that now. Sorry, no punting. No, you know what? Honestly, I think it should be a penalty. We line up and then we take the 5-yard penalty. I think it should be a 40-yard penalty. If one more quarterback says, on the 47, they try to get a 5-yard penalty, 40-yard penalty. You got to go all the way back to the other 30 or 20. I'm sick of watching it. If you line up, you have to snap it. That's the rule I actually want.
I mean,
if you line up, you have to snap the football.
As you're
no
saying,
fake punts.
But as you're saying that, does the UFL? What you're saying? The UFL has a new rule where you have to go for it on your opponent's side of the field. What's the rule change though, Cody? Where I have the ball at my opponent 45. I do want to punt it. I just take a 5-yard delay of game penalty and then I punt it.
Just learn to punt
No,
without
but
the 5.
can I do that? Can I just take the delay of game and back myself up to the opponent's 50?
You're allowed to just auto-elect
it's
to be
fourth,
further.
It's 4th and
Taking
9.
negative yards, you're allowed to take as many negative yards as you want.
So it's
before a punt.
It's 4th and 9 at my opponent's 48. I just take the delay of game, then I can actually punt it. Well, then that's what I would be doing.
And it's an auto delay of game. Like, we're not waiting the 40 seconds.
Okay.
We'll just move you back to 5 yards and you can get your ass up and punt.
I wonder if John Gruden would approve of your QB cadence.
Is that not? I've never. In fairness,
I've
never tried to do a QB cadence before, so I don't know. Seemed fine, I guess. I'll have to get an actual coach to give me.
John Gruden's got those videos, with like Rich Gannon.
Yeah.
And he always says about the QB cadence
and like the little differences between it. So.
Talk about drawing somebody off sides right there. I don't know.
I don't think that was going to do it.
Like
Someone says, do people actually watch that football? Like, I don't watch the UFL. No, I do not. Here's I've had this stance for years because 10
he
years
wants him to last at least a decade. Yeah,
10 years ago, if you would have asked me, I would have been excited about the XFL or what was the other one that they had? I saw some San Antonio game when I lived in Houston.
AFL
Alliance or whatever. It was like the Alliance of American Football League. So many of these. And I'm so done with all of them. Yeah, prove to me you can last for 10 years. And frankly, the bar should probably be like 6. Once you do that, then I'll acknowledge it. Yeah, but they changed the XFL came back, and then they just decided to merge with the UFL, so they technically couldn't both survive. It's a mess. They can let them try out the gimmicky rules, and I guess we can see if we like any of them.
We took their kickoff rule. Who's to say that we won't
the XFL
take the anti-tush push or the 4-point 60-yard field goal or all the other ones? I get so. Does anybody else just? I don't like
That's pretty great. That's pretty good.
I don't like the waste of time things in sports. It's why, I like that they just made it so you can just point down if you're intentionally walking someone. Why were we making them stand up there and throw the ball outside to a person standing up 4 times? What a waste of time. So if they want the 5-yard penalty, just say, hi, I'd like a 5-yard penalty, please. Sure, it's all yours, man. Go for it. You're just going to punt anyway? Fine. We don't care. Because if you're just going to pretend anyway, what's the difference?
Before we get into a report out there about the Chiefs' interest in a certain tackle that I don't think makes any sense, let's talk a little KU basketball. Last night, as we mentioned during What's Trending, in typical Allen Fieldhouse and KU fashion, they found a way to beat a Houston team that they were underdogs against. That, Houston, yes, was coming off a loss, but it was to Arizona. KU was coming off a loss to Cincinnati. It was embarrassing at home. You continue to have the Darren Peterson drama. But then yesterday, something changed in the final 3 minutes or so of the first half, and then they didn't look back. I mean, they led the rest of the way at that point. Once, going into halftime, I felt pretty good. It was but also we were all texting, how on earth are they up 4 at halftime on Houston with the way the game was going? And then in the second half, it all came together. Trey White was phenomenal for Kansas, and I thought Bill Self and Kelvin Sampson kind of summed up where we're at with KU, which is
they did.
Bill Self told Scott Van Pelt, our ceiling's high, but also we can play at any level. Kelvin Sampson, had this to say after the game about KU. And I know Darren Peterson maybe didn't like that it was Kelvin Sampson saying hey, this can be anything for KU, but it's true. You never know.
So Kansas is one of those teams that you just never know, but they're pretty good. So are we. We're pretty good too. Maybe not tonight.
And Houston wasn't good last night in the second half in particular. But that's the weird thing about KU, this year. It's why they're 25-1 to win a title, but also they've beat every single team that's currently ranked in the Big 12. And yeah, they've lost to UCF and West Virginia and Cincinnati. That's the problem. Otherwise, they'd be in first place in the Big 12 and have a chance to truly win the Big 12. They're currently the 2 seed as it sits right now, a few weeks away from the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. But they can beat anybody in the country, Cody. Truly, they can beat anybody. Yeah. And it wasn't like Darren Peterson was
as good as anybody. They played Houston's game last night. Ugly, defensive style. They played their game.
But they also are capable, as we know, of playing down. And the challenge for them is they've played up at Allen Fieldhouse. They beat Arizona because of Allen Fieldhouse. In large part last night at moments because of Allen Fieldhouse and the energy. We know you don't have that in the NCAA tournament. So how do they create their own energy moving forward? I think that's a big question. And then there's still the Darren Peterson stuff. Now, last night he played 30-plus minutes. He was not a earth-shattering performance, but I actually thought he was unselfish. We were just talking about going into the game how he needs to be a little more unselfish when he's on the floor. I thought he actually played well last night, even if his shooting wasn't great.
Yeah, he shot poorly for the last month or so. And by the way, that's just not that uncommon for elite-level shooters. Just like hitters or anything else, they just go through streaks where they're not making as many buckets. And I think that's what Peterson got through. He's trying to shoot his way through it. And that's what it felt like for that whole first half. I'm going to shoot my way out of my problems. And then once Trey White got hot, they just kind of let him go and let Tiller go and open things up. They are, I don't know. If I were a Kansas fan, I can't tell you, man, if I'd be excited or frustrated. They have beaten. The Big 12, by the way, metric-wise, is one of the single best basketball conferences ever since they've been measuring it. That's how good they are. Not just a good basketball conference, one of the best ever. Some people think they might get 10 teams in the tournament this year. It might end up being 8, but they got a real argument for 10. And 5 of the top 15 teams in the country and a million other things. And Kansas has beaten every single one of them. As the current AP poll stands, they've beaten team 1, 3, 5, 14, 19. I don't remember all the numbers, but it's right in that range. And yeah, a lot of them are in Allen. Some aren't. And so they're a weird team in the sense that I think starting 5-wise, when those guys are going well, they're as deep as any team in the country through the starting 5. They're as good as any team in the starting 5. Because Trey White is probably their worst. What do you guys think? Is Trey White their least good starting 5 player? And he was the star last night?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, because, I think that's fair.
Peterson 1, Council 2. I put Flory ahead of him. I guess the real argument you're making for is whether you think it's White or why am I not thinking the fifth?
Tiller?
And Tiller.
And Tiller had a double-double last night.
And has consistently been putting up those numbers. So, like, that's the only argument. And even he can be their best offensive player. Last night's win it just made me think they sleptwalked through Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They only like playing against the big ones.
Yeah, well, that was, I think the energy level was a major issue against Cincinnati. I think the Big 12, it's not the sheer number of teams. It's the top-heavy nature of the league. You know, like, the Big 12 is not going to break the record the SEC had last year, where the SEC had like 14 teams that got in.
No, they also have
but the Big 12 has 5 national title contenders.
Yeah,
like legitimately, like five teams you can make a case can win a national
Arizona,
title.
Houston, Iowa State, Kansas,
and I would have said Texas Tech, but JT Toppin.
That
to me ends, in my opinion, that ends their national title hopes.
You give BYU any hope? Top 20 team. They're going to be on the
I just don't
4th
like
seed
their
line right now.
form. I think they're a national title contender, though.
The way they've played, I think they've proven that even without Richie Saunders, they can win games. Because I thought originally when he tore his ACL, I thought they were done because Richie Saunders has been so good for them. But I think they've shown here since he's gone down that they've been good enough to compete with the best of them. So, yeah, for sure.
I understand them saying the SEC got 14. I'm just telling you, like, an advanced metric talking about the top-end talent of it.
No, the national title contenders.
Yeah, it's just they're so good. And before Texas Tech, before Toppin got hurt, they had, they're just so deep. And it's not just, like, deep in, like, the way the SEC was deep, but they had a lot of good teams. They have some of the best teams in the country all reside in a single conference.
So KU has number 2 Arizona on Saturday, and then they'll wrap up against Arizona State in Kansas State. Again, Missouri in action. We'll talk about them in the 1 o'clock hour a little bit. Missouri Tigers are hosting a top 25 Tennessee squad tonight. We've mentioned the bubble for the Missouri Tigers, and here's another opportunity. And this was not a ranked opponent just a week ago, so it actually is a really good spot, possibly for Missouri. It looked like they were only going to have one game against Arkansas left as a top 25 opponent. After already beating Vanderbilt last week. Well, now you got a chance in Columbia tonight to beat another top 25 team in Tennessee. So we'll get there in the 1 o'clock hour. I want to talk about a report that's out there on a free agent that, I'll be honest, it makes no sense to me, and it comes from everybody's favorite Jason La Canfora. This truly, I guess, is reminder of the national narrative toward the end of the season for the Chiefs, which was like that their offensive line was just terrible, but people forgot that their starting left tackle wasn't in the game, and they were down to, practice squad guys on the offensive line, and that, to me, their offensive line is not as in bad a shape as people want to make it out to be. Jason La Canfora is reporting that the Chiefs are a team to watch for Packers left tackle Rasheed Walker. Now, Rasheed Walker, if you don't know the name...
Wait, tackle?
He is 26 years old. He was an okay starter for a couple of years with the Packers. He wasn't necessarily, the most premium performer out there, but he was reliable. And there's a report out of Wisconsin that says he could get more than what Dan Moore got. Now, refresher, Dan Moore was the Steelers tackle that was mentioned in Kansas City last offseason. He ended up signing to Tennessee for what most people think was an overpay, 4 years, $82 million. So Jason La Canfora is saying that he thinks this Rasheed Walker could get $25 million a year. And he says in the same report, watch the Chiefs and Patriots. Guys, it makes zero sense.
Do they hate, is Simmons quitting football tomorrow? Because then it would make some sense, sure.
I don't understand why on earth you would think that they're in the market for Rasheed Walker. Now, could they sign just a veteran tackle? Just like, sure, that's fine. But you right now currently have Juwan Taylor and Jalen Moore, as you said, and you have Josh Simmons, who you spent a first-round pick on. Unless there's some other story coming out that's going to tell us he's not available next season, it makes no sense. In a year in which they're tight against the cap, they're going to go spend $25 million a year on another offensive lineman. If that's the case, then they should just draft that one tackle in the first round. If that's the case, this makes no sense.
Well,
I'm calling BS. I'm calling BS on the La Canfora report all the way around.
Look, I read up more on it, and it looks like he's taking a stretch from one NFL exec who had said the Chiefs make a fit. I think maybe, I don't know. What sense does it make for them to spend that kind of money? Dan Moore, by the way, ended up ranking 62nd out of 89 tackles for Pro Football Focus grade. So not great for Tennessee. But when you look at it, unless you think Simmons is going to quit football, like legitimately quit football tomorrow, there is no logic in it. They can either keep Jawan Taylor on his contract, which I don't think they'll do, but that is an option to them. Keep Jawan Taylor under contract. Keep Jalen Moore under contract. Extend Jalen Moore. Draft one at 9 or 40 if they really don't think that any of those guys are an available option to them before spending $25 million a year. If you're going to spend $25 million a year on an available free agent, do you know how much I can get and how many positions I can fill in the free agent market with that? I can bring back Brian Cook. I can sign Jalen Watson or whatever. Their comparable players are. They don't have to be the exact same players. But I can bring in safety and corner and running back for the price of $25 million a year. That's the part that would get me, Gold. Why would I do that? And then I could just take the tackle at 9. I could sign all the players I need that I would potentially take at 9 in free agency and just take one at there instead and just solve my problem a different way. It wouldn't make any sense to me. If Simmons hadn't worked out, I think we'd be talking a whole bunch more about tackling in this offseason. You and I understand that there is still some risk with it, but there's 4 years of remaining control when you consider a 5th-year option of Simmons left. They don't have to eject on it yet. My thing is, are they gonna go? My question is, who's going to be their swing tackle this year? If the guy you just mentioned was a swing tackle who's going to be available for the Jalen Moore contract,
$25 million a year.
Now we're talking, right? In the sense that maybe they don't want to go with a guy who they let get plucked off of their practice squad, who ended up having to start later on in the season at tackle, because if they get rid of Jawan Taylor, we're really just going to do Jalen Moore and Josh Simmons, both guys who weren't available for all the year last year, and hope they're both available. No, we got to have some kind of tackle depth and safety net. But that's not a safety net guy. That's a starter. Some of this is just, I don't know, clown say clown stuff. Isn't that what this is? No offense, right? And I'm not, we've had Lock and 4 on the show before. I think he's relatively knowledgeable on Baltimore stuff. I think he's just saying something.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. Truly. I think we saw this the final few weeks of the Chiefs season when people were discussing them. That they got plenty of problems. They won 6 games, but the offensive line was not as problematic as when they had the starters out there. And people were watching the O-line the final few weeks and assuming that was just the Chiefs O-line. They were down to practice squad players, or at least a practice squad player at one spot. Somebody that didn't even make the team out of camp and got cut by the Jets later on. The Jets didn't even keep him around.
Yeah.
That wasn't the offensive line.
No. I don't know.
I'm not here telling you they're a top 5 offensive line. They put in resources like they should be, but
left and right tackle are a little bit like defensive end in the free agency market. If they are actually on the market and I have to pay them like the best left tackle in football, like the best defensive end in football, but they're just a free agent and available, man, there is something wrong with them. I'm sorry. When Dan Moore's available, why the hell is he available? Teams never just let go of elite level pass rushers and elite level tackles for free. They trade them, maybe, right? They might Laramie Tunsil them and send them to Miami, but they don't just let them walk out on the street if they're elite. So they're a flawed player. The same reason Jawan Taylor was available. Do we not learn that lesson? Let's just say hypothetically, in some bizarro world, Lock and 4 is correct, and the Chiefs really are interested in this player, which I don't think is the case in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Did they not learn their lesson from Jawan Taylor? Why was he available? Why was he just on the street available? Well, I know why. He's a flawed player. Even Orlando Brown Jr., you think about the quality difference sometimes between players. They had to give up a first-round pick to get him. And he was a league average, and still is, I think. I don't know, I haven't watched him in Cincinnati much, but a league average left tackle. A league average left tackle cost you a first-round pick. This guy's just on the street? Pass. Because they should franchise tag him if he's any good. There'd be 17. We just said that there might be a market for Jawan Taylor. Not a good market, but a market. And you're telling me this guy's on the street? No way. I'm not signing free agent left tackles. I'm either drafting him or I'm trading for him. It doesn't do me any good to just pick him up off the street, I guess is my point. From the 816. See, now, I'm sorry I said that, because now the text line's saying, if Simmons quits football, Veach is on the hot seat. He's not going to quit football. I was just saying, the only would make sense.
I'm going to use that drop so much now. Just randomly, just whenever I want, I'm going to play that.
Can we use it as a segment breaker when we do all 32 between,
I just think
Gold does his and then we're getting to Drew's? That's how we transition between people.
We're going to have to play this for Nate Taylor.
Just randomly, whenever I feel like playing. And what's great about that drop is like it truly could just be used whenever we feel like it. And so that's what I'm going to do. It'll get played, I promise you, at least another 3 times before the show.
I think every single guest that we have on the show football. So Nate tomorrow.
You want a judgment of
whenever
theirs?
we have Danon on next. Yeah, whenever we have Briscoe
Danon, he'd be
on.
a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
A former player. Figure out what they think of my...
Yeah, Ross Tucker grade your cadence.
He was on the line, too, so he should know.
Mm-hmm.
Heard it up close and personal.
Whenever Mitchell Schwartz joins, the drive will have to have Carrington or Rob play it for him as well. And see what his thoughts are.
I don't know.
We're at training camp. We'll play back. We'll play back the audio to any player just to get their. I mean,
does this sound like a real quarterback? Somebody, one person on the text line said, "For what it's worth, I think I jumped off sides."
You guys get Patrick Mahomes on the show and play the cadence.
Almost got me to jump. Yeah, almost got me there, man.
I think it's really good. I think
no
actually.
idea.
I think it's pretty good.
It's only based on the stuff you hear from those on-field microphones. Anytime those guys, the only time they do it that hard too is like at the fake punt. It's the only time they like that the cadence is that like aggressive.
All right, up next, let's get into some baseball. Spring training continues today, of course, out in Surprise, Arizona. A couple thoughts on the Royals. We're going to talk about them with the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, JJ Picollo, including Isaac Collins, who is expected to play for the first time today. We'll ask him about him next.
You're listening to Cody Gold. Tune in for the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day, starting at 11:30 right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
When the cold weather takes over KC, AB May is the trusted name for keeping your home warm. From furnace repairs to system replacements, we're always happy to help. Right now, we're offering 0% interest for 72 months on select heating and cooling systems. Trusted by generations of KC homeowners, AB May is committed to doing things the right way every time. Call 913-732-9993 or visit abmay.com.
Call your serviceman from AB May.
Some flavors just take you to another place. Like the Filet-O-Fish, a crispy fish fillet made with wild-caught Alaskan pollock on melty American cheese topped with tartar sauce, all on a soft, steamed bun. It's crispy, flaky perfection. And right now, I can mix and match 2 favorites, like a Filet-O-Fish or 10-piece Chicken McNuggets for just $6. This deal is the catch of the day. So get to McDonald's fast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Discover a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026.
Advent Health welcomes the KC Golf Show February 27th through March 1st at the OP Convention Center. Grab front door perks while they last. Get golf fit with Paws Studio and P-Volve. Saver buys with Pierpont's at Union Station and Booth Creek Wagyu. And hit Golf MD's new Club Zone at the Golf Show February 27th through March 1st at the OP Convention Center. Thanks to Mulligan's Country Club, Great Life Golf, Genesis of KC, Extreme Green, All Seasons Indoor Golf, Surfside, Imperial Golf, and Barry's Golf and Groove. Tickets at KansasCityGolfShow.com.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
To
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
This year, flavor doesn't walk. It runs wild. At P.F. Chang's, we're charging into the year of the horse with bold new wok-fired dishes like pork belly bao buns and refreshing cocktails like the Midnight Gallop. P.F. Chang's beloved red envelope tradition returns, adding a surprise element to every visit during the Lunar New Year. Each guest receives a red envelope revealing a special offer redeemable on a future visit. Celebrate the Lunar New Year with flavor that runs wild at P.F. Chang's. Valid for dine-in only while supplies last. Details at pfchangs.com.
This update is brought to you by Ollie's Bargain Outlet.
The smartest people on earth know how to spot a good deal. That's why they shop at Ollie's first. You'll save up to 70% off the fancy store's prices. So you go, you smart and savvy shopper. You know where the real deals are, where they sell good stuff cheap.
Ollie's! Good stuff cheap! Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mac Maury, and I wanted to let you know that I've started a new social media series called Mac's Minute. Real original, right? It gets released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our station's Instagram and Twitter accounts, plus YouTube Shorts. I'll give you my best take in 60 seconds on the biggest stories in sports and Kansas City. Make sure to follow on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube. Watch Mac's Minute every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our social media platforms. This is Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500.
Mike's got this.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon producing the show. We'll work in a little random question of the day coming up in 15 minutes or so. We'll also get back into some of the comments in the 1 o'clock hour from Chiefs General Manager Brett Veach as the Combine is opening up there in Indianapolis. He had some thoughts on Travis Kelce's potential return to Kansas City, and also I think one thing that fans probably were happy to hear, which was the acknowledgement of the running back situation and needing to be more explosive there, especially with Patrick Mahomes coming back from a torn ACL. So we'll do that in the 1 o'clock hour. But let's head right out to surprise Arizona Royals. Spring training well underway at this point. You've been hearing the games, of course, here on 96.5 The Fan. We welcome in the president of baseball operations and general manager for the Royals, JJ Picollo. He'll start up his bi-weekly conversations with us starting this week. So we're excited for that, JJ. Cody and I were talking off air before we came back from break. I know the Royals moved out to Surprise in like 2003. I think you joined the organization in 2006. And at this point, you got all the spots down and everything. I mean, the car just drives itself.
Nothing's that easy, but you certainly know the area well, and it's been incredible to see Surprise as a city just grow. I mean, it's you got a lot of people from Kansas City that have retired and moved down here so they can see Royals games. You got a lot of people from the Dallas area that are Rangers fans, but it's certainly grown over the 20 years that we've been coming here to spring training during my time.
Do you find yourself like going to the same restaurant and they like remember you from the year before?
Yeah, that happens. That happens. They know when spring training. From what I've been told, it's the second most profitable month of the year for this city, behind Christmas, December. So yeah, they know when the clubs are in town. They're going to see people that they've seen in the past, and very hospitable. And again, there's some newer restaurants that we're still getting to learn.
JJ, it's still my goal. So the next time I get down to Arizona, it's still my goal to stand in against a live pitch from a major league pitcher. Can you arrange that? I don't care what level we're talking about. Just I'll stand in there with a helmet on. I don't think I'll make any contact.
Well, I don't know if that's the safest way to go, but we do have a machine called a traject machine that you may know something about that is as lifelike as you could possibly get. Be happy to have you stand in against traject, but I don't know if you want to stand in against the actual thing.
Can it pitch? Can it pitch shape like a certain pitcher? Like, are those the ones you can program and say, "Give me Cole Reagan's slider"?
That's exactly what it is. I mean, we use it quite a bit. I mean, before game, in game, you get pinch hitters are getting ready to face a certain left-handed pitcher. They know that's who they're going to face. They go down into our tunnel at Kauffman Stadium and they look at some pitches off of that pitcher. So they're prepared for the at-bat. It's a tremendous tool and a great training, tool that we've used for 3 years now.
Thinking of technology, we know one of the big stories heading into the season is going to be the ABS system. I know the minors have been using it for a bit. I think even last year at spring training it was around, but I know some of the clubs maybe didn't utilize it as much because they knew it wouldn't be at the big league level last year. Now that you fast forward, and the WBC maybe throws a bit of a wrinkle in this as well, but how much of an adjustment is needed for some of the vets, and how's the organization handling that?
Well, the veterans, I think, are really accepting of it. I mean, we got a taste of it last spring. Guys like Salvi who didn't see it in the minor leagues, they're very accepting of it because it gives you an opportunity rather than argue with the umpire, challenge the umpire. If you think it's a strike or a ball, whatever it may be, go ahead and challenge it. And right now, we're using it a little bit differently than we'll use it in season. And somewhere along the way here, 2 to 3 weeks into games here, you'll see our usage of it be different. The way we'll challenge will be a little bit different than it looks right now. But you get the starters that are playing 4 to 5 innings, and they're the guys that you want to learn how to use the system. So you're going to see situations challenge in spring training in the first or second inning that you're not going to see in the regular season, but they're the only 2 or 3 at-bats they're getting a day. So they get the opportunity to challenge a pitch and they learn how well they know the strike zone. We're actually doing some things as well. You may not see the actual challenge, but our hitters or pitchers may signal to the dugout, I want that pitch documented. So I know if I was right or wrong. So we're using it in different ways because we're trying to train our pitchers and hitters to learn, what pitches they should or shouldn't challenge. So it's an interesting experiment, I would say, and I think we'll use it very strategically during the season. There's certainly times that we all have our opinions when to use it, when not to use it, but we'll have a very fixed system that we'll use with our team because you want to use it at the right time. And it is, for those that don't know, it is player controlled. There is no element of the coaching staff that gets a say in challenges or not. The challenge is immediate. It's got to be within 2 seconds of the pitch being delivered. Pitcher, hitter, or catcher has to make the challenge with no influence from the dugout or the base coaches. If the umpire senses that there was any influence, he's not going to allow the challenge. So it is very different than what you might see in the NFL, where the coaches are clearly reviewing something and the head coach throws a challenge. It's very different here because it's player driven.
I guess when you look at it and the way I've seen some teams that they're just going to put it up on the video board, as in each pitch show where it's kind of hitting in the ABS system as a way of players to live track that. Is that something you guys would consider in the regular season?
You mean on a pitch it's actually challenged in the stadium, or are you saying?
Or just they're saying I've seen some spring changes off to the side. They're just showing like pitches up on the board where they're hitting.
Yeah. So we won't show every pitch on the board. What we'll show is when a pitch is challenged, every stadium is going to have this. It's going to go right up to the board for all of our fans to see. So there's an entertainment factor to it as well. You hear the fans ooh and ah, and unfortunately, the umpires, they're everybody's favorite person to pick on any given day. So when the umpire's wrong, you get the sarcastic cheer. But I think that'll settle in. But it is very interesting for our fans to be able to see that challenge system pop up on the board. The challenges, we just had a meeting yesterday with MLB. The challenges, they're expecting no more than 17 seconds, from the time that a challenge is announced. The umpire will step out, announce to the crowd, batters challenging the strike call. Then the board will pop up with the pitch. It's immediate. Umpire will turn around, say, call is confirmed, or call is changed. Royals retain their challenge or Royals lose their challenge. So all told, that's not going to take any more than 17 seconds, and it is very efficient. So I think our fans are going to enjoy it.
Let's talk about some of the players that we've mentioned, obviously, this offseason and might matter. Isaac Collins is going to get his first chance to play in spring training. I think we read that he had a minor procedure and was maybe taking it slow going into it. Where's he at? What's your comfort level with his health and everything in between?
So we're getting our first look at him today. He's batting leadoff. We're over at Cincinnati today. He's batting leadoff, so we're anxious to see him in games. But he's taken dozens of at-bats on the backfields with our live batting practices and looks good. He had basically, it's a PRP injection at the end of the season, which just promotes healing. We're just being super cautious with him early, but he's full go. He's able. He'll be in there today. And, what we've seen so far is exactly what we were hoping. It's a very competitive at-bat. It's an aggressive swing, but it's aggressive but under control at the same time. It's not a free swinging approach. He's very athletic. Watching him run around the bases, we like what we see, and we'll get better looks at him in game in the outfield. But the athleticism certainly should play.
One of the things I know last year we talked to you about was the importance of base running, some of the issues, of course, on the base pass a season ago. How do you guys handle that in spring training? What can you work on, I guess, during spring training if you're a Royals fan? You're saying, how are they supposed to improve in that area?
We certainly are doing, from a technical standpoint, we have all kinds of reports and ways of looking at jumps, good reads, even good slides. Sometimes your slide is what costs you being out or safe at second base. So we have plenty of ways of evaluating that, showing videos, building out reports. But what we're really trying to instill is just that aggressiveness, that aggressive style. And spring training is perfect for that. You get a base hit the right field. We want guys going first to third. Base hit the center field, you're on second base. We want you coming around third hard to give the third base coach an opportunity to send you. So it's more of that aggressive mentality, which we've always had. And for whatever reason last year, our confidence took a hit. We had some guys getting thrown out, and that's not like us. And the second half was certainly better than the first half. But we want to put together a complete 162 games, and a big part of our identity as an organization is the base running. So it's just getting back to that aggressive base style, that base running that we value quite a bit. And we certainly have the guys to do it. And, the thing that I always try to remind, whether it's coaches, players, it's not just your Bobby Witts and your Michael Garcias. It's your Vinny Pasquantinos and your Salvador Perez's too. I mean, if those guys go first or third on a play, on the right play, that really energizes your dugout. And that's what we're trying to, recapture, I'll say, because we certainly did it in 24 and it led to a lot of success and more runs being scored. But when your guys who aren't necessarily the speed guys are doing it, then it's really part of your identity as a club, and that's what we want.
I think it was Jack Caglione on with Vern. He was talking about, you're mentioning all these things and these little things to do well. He made it sound like that there was a general, maybe a meeting or just like a discussion that includes you guys in ownership, which was, hey, this isn't a bunch of rookies all on rookie deals. These are people who've been paid in contracts, and expectations should be high, and we expect them to be high, and you should too. What was that meeting like, or what was that speech like? Can you give me a little behind the scenes, JJ, of telling the team that expectation is good?
Yeah, so, I think what Jack was probably referring to is our opening meeting, where obviously the manager has a few things to say, I have a few things to say, and we have others that are involved. But, last year we were coming off a year where we made the playoffs, and how do you handle those expectations, and being very honest, we didn't handle them the way we should have handled them. We weren't happy that we were not playing in October. So really, when you think about expectations, what are your expectations? Go compete every night, be aggressive, be relentless in your effort, and give us great effort. And if you do those four things, you're going to win ball games. Our roster is talented enough to win games, but if we're doing those things consistently and you don't take any pitches off, that's another thing I'm hearing a lot in spring training. Don't take a pitch off. I hear the catching coach, Paul Hoover, saying it to our catchers when he's catching bullpens. I hear our hitting coaches saying it in the batting cage when they're just basically getting ready for the workout. Don't take a pitch off. And if you do those things because you're controlling the things that you can control, you're going to end up meeting your expectations as a club. So instead of thinking about it like we got to win 95 games, let's not think about it that way. Let's think about what we need to do today and what are the most consistent things across the board every day that lead you to wins. And they're the simple things that we need to do. And you keep that in perspective, the talent on the roster, and obviously, injuries will play a factor in it. Stay healthy. The talent on the roster will take us where we want to go, and that's how you meet expectations.
We're talking to JJ Picollo, president of baseball ops and general manager for the Kansas City Royals, talking to him here on 96.5 The Fan. We know Carlos Esteves' career year last year, 42 saves, the All-Star game appearance. It's early, and I also know he's going to be in the WBC. Is it a slower ramp up for him? I know some talk about his velocity so far here in spring.
Yeah, he's historically been a low velocity guy in spring training. So last year was our first year with Carlos, and we're watching it, and we're getting a little uneasy. And finally, you have conversations with Carlos, and obviously the pitching coaches do every day. He's like, "Hey, don't worry, I'll be ready opening day. This is just how I get ready." So you don't see the higher velocities, and we probably saw, it wasn't until I think week 2 or 3 of the regular season where we really saw him come into his own. He's not a 98 to 100 mile an hour closer. He's not that type of guy. He relies on command. He relies on deception, but there is an expected velocity out of him. And historically speaking, he is a little bit of a slow starter. And I think some of his interest in participating in the WBC, it's the first time he's really been asked to do it from the get-go, is to try to get to that spot a little bit earlier. So we'll see how it goes. So I know that's concerning when people see velocities and it's not what you see in the spring. But again, historically speaking, with Carlos, this is what he does. Last year he was 83 to 85. Right now he's more like 86 to 88. So he's a little bit closer than he was because he changed his training in the offseason, started a little bit sooner to be ready for the WBC. So, internally, we're not concerned with it. Carlos will know if he's ready, and if he's not ready, he's the type of guy that will tell us, "Hey, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not saying don't pitch me, and I'm not hurt, but I'm not there yet. So just understand it's going to take me a little bit." And he's a great communicator, so that will take care of itself.
When you look at, I guess, Seth Lugo, speaking of just not slow starts, obviously he was excellent to begin the year last year. And looking back at his season, where do you think things went awry for him towards the end, considering just how good he had been for you the previous season and a half, obviously?
So he was dealing with that hand issue. It's like a finger issue, and that seemed to take its toll on him. And then, sometime, late July, early August, early August is when it really, had an effect on him. But again, these guys have been doing this for a long time. Watching him pitch yesterday, he's like a surgeon. I mean, he's just working on things. He's working at 91, 92. He wants to get up to 94, 95. He can do it right now. But it's all about location. It's all about pitch movement. As long as he's healthy, he's going to be able to do those things. You don't get to pitch for as long as he has or Michael Wacha has in the major leagues if they aren't masters at their craft. And watching guys like that pitch, unfortunately the game's gotten away from that a little bit because we're so infatuated with velocity and big stuff. But guys like that, you look up, they're the ones that last forever. Charlie Morton's another one that comes to mind. He's pitched forever. Those guys were never truly power guys. They're guys that can manipulate the baseball. They live in the strike zone. They know how to get hitters out. They can follow a scouting report, and they can execute those pitches that the scouting report is calling for. That's how you have good careers, and those two guys have both done it. But Seth's in a really good spot today.
JJ, before we let you go, I think it was Andy Rogers had a story about the guys watching USA men's hockey gold medal game in the clubhouse and how cool that was. And then, of course, they were all trying to get some bragging rights on who the best hockey player might be in the clubhouse. Did you have a chance to watch the USA men?
I did. We were up in our offices here watching it. Fortunately, it started at 6 a.m. out here, which, this building's, believe it or not, it's hopping at 6 a.m. Everybody's already here. But we were able to watch the game, and it was exciting. I was 9 going on 10 years old the last time that the U.S. won a gold. But of course, we have a few Canadians in the building as well, so there's been some good fun ribbing of each other right now. So that's always adds to the camaraderie of a clubhouse.
JJ Picollo, Royals General Manager, President of Baseball Ops. Good to talk to you again, JJ, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks.
All right, guys. Thank you.
There you go. JJ Picollo with us here on 96.5 The Fan. Yeah, Andy Rogers had a really cool story she wrote for MLB.com about the guys in the clubhouse. And they were going around asking who'd be I think it was Carter Jensen said that sneaky pick for hockey player on the team. He was saying Michael Wacha, tall defenseman is what he was saying, I think.
Wacha?
And then Bobby said, Bobby's like, I'd be the best hockey player. Which
I
probably, yeah, sure.
I gotta say, there's obviously a huge part of me that just assumed that it would be him, right? He's the best.
See, he said there's some ribbing with some of the Canadians in the Royals organization. See, I can wear my USA Hockey hoodie in Montreal at the game on Thursday. It's all in good fun, and I'm not going to even be ribbing anybody. I'm just going to be wearing it. Be fine.
Yeah, I get that part of it, but still, you got to be a little bit worried, aren't you? A little worried?
No, my mom texted me yesterday. She somehow got back to her. Got back to her.
What'd she say?
She's like, you got to be careful. You sure you want to wear that? I go, yes, I am going to wear it. Thank you very much. We'll get to the random question of the day right now.
Random question.
The random question today brought to you by Kansas City Urology Care at KCUC. Remember, you see the best in KC. Visit kcurology.com today. So for you, Gold, you Drew, text line 913-586-7965. And of course, over on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. Like and subscribe over on Twitch or YouTube. You'll pop right to the top of the feed and can interact with us over there. I want to ask you, in your life, do you think that this is the dumbest thing the youth has ever done? And I want you to keep in mind of all the stupid things you remember people doing when you were a kid or the different fads that have existed over time. But this one might take the cake. GQ, pretty infamous article, magazine, has an article out today talking about the recent trend on social media and in looks called bone smashing.
What?
Inside the extreme look maxer technique.
Smashing.
There are people who are currently, like this kid who goes by clavicular, whatever that means. His name's Braden.
What?
Where they slowly hammer away at their face in order to change their face shape to a more desirable one by, and not kidding, hitting it repeatedly with a hammer. Is this the dumbest thing anyone has ever done?
There are not people taking hammers to their jawline.
There are.
Yep, it's dumb.
There are.
This is real?
It's about as bad as the Tide Pod thing or whatever.
So what? They're just slowly are they breaking their jaw? What are they doing here? This makes no sense to me.
Yeah. That's it.
Who started this? It's a TikTok trend. Of course it is. I just saw it. I love how the headline has to say this is from the Global Center of Health. Bone smashing. Here are the dangers of hammering your face. It's so sad that we have to explain to you why it might be bad to use a hammer towards your face.
Someone says, think of UFC fighters' shins. Same concept. Do UFC fighters' shins have something different? That's what
I don't know. Someone says,
Keo said over
Gold,
on
how have you not heard of this? I truly have never. I'm not lying. I have never. This is brand new news to me. And now my TikTok algorithm's going to be screwed now. Bone smashing.
That's what it's called. I'm just asking if it's the dumbest thing anyone's ever done. Because
it's up there, yes.
It was invented by look maxers, which is easily the dumbest thing that I've ever said on this show. Mostly male internet subculture of extreme aesthetic self-improvement. Developed in the early 2010s as it's not great. They did say it's openly misogynistic and some other stuff in place. But apparently they're taking a hammer to their face in order to do it. Look, I got to say, if you're going to just take a hammer to your face, why not offer it up to someone else? You know?
Well, what I'm
2 for
confused
1.
by, other than the stupidity automatically with it, is if you're going to hammer your face, it might lead to you might need plastic surgery after to fix the mistake. If you're that concerned, then just get the plastic surgery if that's really what you want to do. You're going to
taking a hammer to your face is certainly cheaper.
No, but you might need some. It might screw it up enough where you're going to need surgery to correct if you really screw yourself up.
Maybe, but if you were one of those people who, if you got a hair transplant, but instead they said, hey, you can either go to Turkey and pay $5,000 to get a hair transplant, or you could just gently tap on top of your head. Not gently, maybe, but tap on top of your head with a hammer constantly.
No.
There'd be some people who would take the cheap option.
No.
I'm not saying they should.
Hammer near your face and head seems automatic bad idea.
Automatic?
Automatically a bad idea.
But hey, it's a trend, so people got to do it now. That's what they're told.
Drew, had you heard of this before I brought this up on the show?
I have not heard of this, but I still don't think it's I don't know if it's as bad as the Tide Pod challenge or whatever the heck it is, where kids were eating Tide Pods.
Or the cinnamon challenge. There's some ones that are feel relatively innocent.
The cinnament challenge is not as dumb as this.
Yeah, it is wild that you...
No, we're close. And I used to I did all this stuff from the Jackass movies when I was a kid. You know how many times we put each other in a shopping cart and flew into other stuff and all jousting essentially in there? I didn't take a hammer to my face.
It is really sad though. Like because it's a challenge. It's like hurting yourself or abusing yourself is encouraged behavior now. I don't have TikTok. Never downloaded it. Kind of glad that I haven't. In a way, I'm powering through. I did not know what this was.
We have to have headlines in journals and that says, "Don't smash your face. Bone smashing is ineffective and dangerous."
Yeah.
No kidding.
Quote, the very basic premise is that the repetitive mechanical load can influence bone density or remodeling. And it's not completely divorced from science, says Joshua Rosenberg, facial plastic surgeon and associate professor at Mount Sinai. It's just wildly misunderstood and misapplied here, is what he says.
I
People are going to have to go have surgery anyway.
But this is a very
someone said maybe I can fix my super bone this way.
Sad part of society, unfortunately, right now.
It's not great. Oh, you just mean the look maxing stuff?
Oh, I mean,
or just all of society's in a sad state of affairs.
I mean, it's all of it. But I think like social media makes people think that they aren't as good looking as they should be, and as a result,
yeah, but it shouldn't be driving you to taking a hammer to your face.
It becomes a trend, and people want to be kids want to be popular, and they're peer pressured into it, and it's a social media thing. You know, it's
peer pressure existed pre-social media, but it's certainly worse.
What's a super bone?
Do dangerous things because it's you only live once, and it's you know.
But I'm trying to stay alive. Yeah. That's the problem. The only live once thing applies to if you don't think you're going to do it. I just wanted to have an open discussion on this show about it, and I'm glad that now you're aware of it. You know? I did not listen to I was listening to a podcast today about radio. Media. Maybe I'll teach us about that next. Like about the invention of the FM wave. We're on FM now.
Bone smashing.
Yeah, that's what it's called, man. This doctor really goes in here and he's like, these people are idiots. Well, it's flawed because it's not controlled. He's like, technically you could like have facial reconstruction to change the way your face looks. I'm like, yeah, that's existed with plastic surgery for a very long time. He's like, but if you're just like hitting a hammer into your face slowly but surely, that's not going to guarantee any kind of success in this department. So, yeah.
I mean, it's
I just thought it might be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm still like, this is like,
genuinely.
I'm like in shock actually that this is a real
it's
thing.
Sad.
It's a real thing. That is the random question of the day. Up next, I needed that to break it up. Let's talk more about Seth Lugo. You heard JJ Picollo's answer about Seth Lugo's season a year ago, plus what Brett Veach had to say in Indianapolis in regards to Travis Kelce, the running back position, and why they moved on from Mike Dana.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Have you ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Well, now's your chance, courtesy of our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. All you need to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. NBA Futures, lock in your pick on who you think is going to go all the way, whether it's a team to win the championship or win the Western or Eastern Conference. Maybe you think that San Antonio is going to upset OKC out west. Maybe you got any idea who's going to come out of the Eastern Conference. Maybe you like Boston with the possible return of Jason Tatum. Whatever your bet is for the future, visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. Remember, play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 of President, Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit 1 entry. 4 Profit Boost token. Opt-in required. Must apply Profit Boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm.
You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again, so call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
In Kansas, truth is told in speed. Wide open, full bore, and no mercy. Season momentum earned 3 and 4 wide. Loud, intense, inches predicting outcomes. Blink and miss.
They bang sideways!
What just happened? Pure speed whipping across the plains.
Hell yeah, boys!
NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, April 18th and 19th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
I love spending time outside at our house, but I noticed some paint was starting to peel. So I called CertaPro Painters to give us a fresh touch-up. We use CertaPro Painters inside and out at our place, and you should do the same. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in Kansas City. So schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, CertaPro.com. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Hola, amigos! Brad Evans here. Check out this booming voice and Pat Boyle on BetMGM tonight, covering the biggest sports stories from coast to coast, live and interactive on the free Odyssey app, discussing NFL offseason news and getting you ready for the madness in college hoops. BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, live and interactive, Monday through Friday night, starting at 6 Eastern, presented by BetMGM. Always live on the free Odyssey app and watch on YouTube at BetMGM tonight.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch all your favorite shows, shorts, and clips. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, 1 o'clock here on a Tuesday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll talk some Mizzou hoops here in about 8 minutes or so. Big one for them tonight against Tennessee. We'll also play back a little bit of what Brett Veach had to say. He was asked about Travis Kelce. He was asked about the ways to protect Patrick Mahomes in terms of building the roster coming off of the ACL. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. But I do want to start with something you asked JJ Picollo when we just had the Royals general manager on the show. If you missed that conversation, it'll be podcasted up on the Odyssey app, of course, our website, and anywhere you get your podcast. And we were asking about Carlos Estevez, which we'll talk more tomorrow about. But you also said, hey, what was the difference, from Seth Lugo?
Yeah, what happened?
And he mentioned, and I hope this is what it is. If this is the case, then you shouldn't be concerned that the hand injury, the not blister necessarily, but the hand injury that he was dealing with, that may have led to some of it. I hope that's the case. If that's the case, then I think Seth Lugo can return to where he was, and it wasn't just being fatigued. Because the hand part would make sense if you look at the command,
right? Those little blister things or those issues, they can matter.
Where he really struggled, and his walk rate was very high in August. Even his numbers overall in August were bad. If that's what it is, and he just needed truly an offseason and a couple months of not, basically letting the hand recover, hand heal, then I don't know if we'll have to be as concerned about that. I hope that's really what it was.
I was asking, look, he looked fine in his spring training start yesterday. Not that that's like some sort of storytelling part that he's getting into, but like at the same time, like I do understand this idea of what happens if he struggles again, and what do you do if he struggles again? Because up to the point they had gotten what I would call incredible value out of him across the board. But then they decided to sign him. This goes back to, remember the Brett Veach conversation we were having before, right? Can you get value out of it twice? They got better than what they paid him value, which is why they had to give him an extension goal, because he was just going to opt out and it wasn't really going to make sense or fit or go inside that. And so what do you do, right? What do you do? How do you get him paid? And so they paid him, they kept it, and they need him to maintain that level because he's one of the most expensive players on the team. And yeah, I told you the H stuff and all that other stuff, it'll bother me a lot less if he just starts well this year. But what if the blister things comes back up, right? There's been not the first pitcher ever that we've had to hear about that for the better part of an offseason. It actually made me feel better what JJ had to say. I don't know about you, but it made me feel a lot better just knowing that there's a common reason why for out of nowhere he no longer could. I
think it was officially right middle finger sprain / inflammation is what they called it.
Right middle. That'll throw off whether you like it or not. I know it sounds like an excuse. That could make you an inaccurate pitcher. And that genuinely is, I think, the difference between him and some other guys. It just makes you inaccurate. And if that's the case, well, then you run into problems. And so I just think if you consider where he is or you consider where he was during that second half, it looks more like a blip than like the beginning of a trend.
I hope so, because he also had a back problem in September too, and so that's more concerning when you hear that than even inflammation of a finger that has months to heal. So they desperately need Seth Lugo to be Seth Lugo that they gave the extension to for this team to get to where they want to get.
Look, and this goes back to there's more pressure on the offense, I think, obviously, than there is on the other, because from the offense's perspective, you need them to come back and to matter. Because the last time they made the playoffs, they had two guys finish in the top 3 in Cy Young. Right? We think we're getting that again? Anybody anticipating a repeat of they'll get 2 top 3 finishers in the Cy Young?
No.
Well, if you're not getting that, well then you got to figure out a way to get more out of the offensive end. But doesn't mean that Lugo can't matter. Because, and this is the toughest part about the Royals season. You and I talk all the time, and I think it's more than fair. We talk all the time about what it would look like if you, when you're counting too much on the hope or the prayer or this other stuff of everything going right for a team. Last year, it didn't feel like everything needed to go right for the Royals. It felt like just one additional thing needed to go right for the Royals. Could they get Lugo to pitch well in the second part? Could they just get Reagans to pitch well and be healthy? Could they get Cags? Like, one additional performance from a player felt like it would have been enough to get them in the playoffs. That's it. One. And I understand I'm asking players to maintain too. But I would say that there are multiple players. Lugo's second half of the season, he didn't finish with a 4.0 ERA. I think people forget just how bad it got in August. He went from a 2.5 or 2.8 ERA Gold to a 4.1 ERA in a month. That's how ugly it got for Seth Lugo. So if it's just the injury, then great. Problem solved, and he'll go on to being a good player again.
How about also, JJ was talking about the ABS system, and how they're going to proceed. I do think there's a chance we fast forward 3 years from now, and we're going to throw it in the same category as the pitch clock and be like, where the hell was this for 15 years?
Oh,
I really think it's going to be great. And as he said, it's 17 seconds is the most it will ever take for the whole challenge parts. This is not delaying baseball games long at all. It's not like the NFL. You're waiting for 2 minutes.
No.
It's going to be so quick. We've witnessed it firsthand in minor league games when we were watching Cags. It is. He's right. For the part they show on the video board, it does create a brief, 5 seconds of drama, tension, because you're waiting to see what looks like just like a video game display of the pitch. And then, if the ump is wrong, the fans are going to obviously talk some smack. And then, of course, if the ump is correct, deep down, the ump inside is saying,
do you think it's going to be a problem at all?
The ump is like, there'll be some power trip ump that eventually is like,
tosses a guy.
Yeah, there'll be something like that happens.
I guess that's the question. Does a guy get tossed this year, Gold, because he challenges a call? Because we see how wrong umps are sometimes. Challenges a call. The call gets overturned. He said, "See, Blue? I know where the ball is."
Later in the year, not initially, but after a long season, and if that ump is continually screwing up, there'll be something that happens there. But I think this is going to be a great thing for the sport.
Like, I just wonder whether or not, and I don't disagree with you. I think overall it's going to be the smoothest thing that ever existed. Some of this, and I've told you, and this is what's weird. I've told you in the NFL I want less replay. Like I saw today that the competition committee for the NFL is going to consider allowing the sky judge
to throw flags.
To throw flags.
Terrible.
Awful idea. I hate it so much. I do not, however, think it's crazy that in baseball, a sport that does not have a ton of review and is not perfect at its review either. This is not a review. This, to me, is the reason why I got excited about review and I thought it was going to work for all sports, and I was wrong. Admittedly, in my opinion, I was wrong. This is what I've always wanted. This is just eagle eye for tennis. It's simple. It's effective.
It's going to be accurate.
It's clear.
Yeah.
It's black or white. It's yes or no. It's not like a did it, didn't it. There's no variable, And
there's
it's
strategy.
Not was there hold. Is there this? Yeah, there is strategy.
The strategy here of when do you actually utilize the challenge, as JJ was saying, in spring right now, because the big league guys are only getting a couple at bats, they're doing it in the first inning. In a regular season, I don't know how many ABS challenges you're going to really see in the first inning if a team's going to waste it. Unless it's a key moment, right? You got the bases loaded with 2 outs.
It's strike 3.
You might.
I don't care if it's the first inning, tap your head.
Yeah, in that circumstance. But if there's 2 outs, nobody on first inning, I don't know if you're using it. Someone was asking how many challenges do you get? Yeah, so each team will have 2. But if you are successful, you retain your challenge if it's successful. So you theoretically could challenge an unlimited number of times if you keep being accurate. But that never really played out in the minors.
I think
and only the pitcher, the catcher, or the batter can do it. That's what I love too.
I got to say, I think that if you're a team and you're talking strategy, because JJ said that everyone's going to employ their own different strategy. This is pretty simple. Unless it is a high leverage part in the early part of the game. As in, it is a ball or strike to walk a runner home, or, like you said, bases loaded, second inning. Like, this might end up being the biggest at bat. The only other, and then, you know what else I do? Is I give free range to the people who know the strike zone. As in, Gold, they have years worth of evidence of who knows what a strike is and who doesn't know what a strike is. And if you know it, and this is where the catcher is going to go, if you know the strike zone like that, then you can have carte blanche. You're not going to mess this up for me. I know people, like, it's seemingly, they, like, within 3 inches, they can be like, that's a ball. And, like, they just know it. They can see it. They know it. They have stats to prove that these guys swing at strikes and watch balls go by. And if it's that guy, I'll give them a lot more freedom in the early part. I don't know about you, but, like, hitter dependent. Like, if you're a good walk guy in a lot of ways, more freedom in this.
Someone was saying that they screw up replay review in baseball all the time. They do, but this is not a replay review. This is literally they measure the players during spring training of their strike zone, and they will be able to determine through like the K zone stuff that you see on TV, but it's going to be even more accurate. It's pretty simple. Is a strike or a ball? There's not going to be like, oh, that sure looked like even on that replay it wasn't. No, it's going to be 100% accurate
and this is
or
the
99 points.
So this is like a really stupid and nuanced thing. And I've told you, I want less replay. I want less in the NFL. I want less in Major League Baseball. This to me is not replay. This is a grid. It is black and white. Like to me, it's not. Yeah. It's not like what is a catch, which we run into in football. It's not. Did the guy tag? Did his foot come off of the base for a millisecond? And it's not that. It's just it. And like sometimes you think it looks like a baller strike on the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell you this: people shoot the home plate from different angles. So like the way you see the batter is not head on all the time. It's not at level all the time. This takes that out. They get measured for it. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like some people are asking about this is where the time why it goes so quick. Like if. It would stop someone from watching the game and letting the batter know from the dugout or whatever. They're not allowed to. One, you have to challenge within 2 seconds, so you just don't have time. And if the ump thinks, let's just say, Matt Quatrero is telling Salvi to challenge, the ump can be like, nope, no challenge. You got help from your dugout.
This isn't like when Q stands there for a minute and like holds his arm up and then spins his finger if it's like, no, I'm not going to do it, or it's not like it's quick, it's instant.
Yeah, that's a replay review challenge. This is just a simple automated ball strike system deal. So I think it'll be something that honestly, I really think it'll be universal. People are going to be like this, just like the pitch clock. It's going to be one of those where all like, oh, this is one of the best things they've implemented. So we'll see it firsthand at Kauffman coming up at the end of March.
Man, the pitch clock. 2.5 hour, 2 hour and 20-minute games. My only complaint is if you go to a game, maybe you don't get quite the same money's worth. Right? Like, if you're going out Saturday afternoon, you want to have it, like you're going to try to have a couple of beers and a hot dog. Maybe it feels a little rushed. Maybe you can't get to the concession stand as quick. That might be the only, and this is a small, only because how many games do people go to a year? The average fan goes to 1 or 2. Right. Most of you aren't season ticket holders. You might go to 2 games as a fan. You'll figure it out. Get your beer beforehand, before you sit down.
I think people are going to like the drama of it too. I think people are going to enjoy the drama
JJ's
part
right.
of
It'll
it.
Be the
So we've seen it. We've seen it in the minors play out. All right. So thanks again. JJ Picollo joined us earlier in the noon hour. Missouri basketball tonight. They got another opportunity for a quad 1 win, another opportunity for a top 25 win because Tennessee's back in the top 25. So it's not just the Arkansas games.
And you get them at home.
You get them at home. This feels kind of like that Vandy game from a week or so ago. It's another. If you want to not have to worry as much in the SEC tournament, you win against another top 25 team, you get yourself on the right side, or keep yourself on the right side of the bubble. I haven't looked. Did Lenardi come out with a new bracketology today?
I haven't seen if he did, but I'll tell you right now, I still think the same thing applies.
4 hours ago.
Because they got into the top 25 in Arkansas here. The same thing I said about Arkansas, the game on March 7th. Win and you're in. I think if Missouri wins tonight, they're off the bubble, and they're off the bubble permanently. Barring an absolute catastrophic meltdown to end the season, I think they're completely off the bubble, and that's a tournament team.
So Lenardi just updated this 4 hours ago. He has Missouri still as the first of the last 4 in. So they're getting closer to moving off the last 4 in, to your point a little bit. If you get now you lose tonight, you stay in that last 4 in category, which means you're going to Dayton, Ohio. Last 4 in, you're going to Dayton, last 4 in, not last 4 buys. I apologize. Last 4 in does not mean last 4 with buys. So like Texas, UCLA, Auburn, Indiana would get to skip the first 4. Right now, if you believe Lenardi, Missouri, Santa Clara, TCU, New Mexico will be playing in Dayton, Ohio. Well, you want to get out of that game. You don't want to be playing in Dayton. So
no, but you got to make sure you stay in the tournament. And by just simply winning tonight, you don't have to ever worry about. Sure, you don't want to play in Dayton, but if you win tonight, you don't have to worry about being in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's just done. Don't you agree? If they just win one of this or the Arkansas game, they're in. They can get in and lose both. But if they just win one, that's a tournament team. Barring losing every single one, losing in the first round of the SEC tournament.
I think so.
I think it would take a catastrophic failure, essentially, to miss.
I think, though, if they lose tonight and they lose to Arkansas and then they only handle their business against Mississippi State and Oklahoma, then I think they're still in the spot. If you want to be sure, then you need to win an SEC tournament game. If you want to get to the SEC tournament and not have to win a single game, then yeah, I think they need to beat Arkansas or Tennessee in order to get in that spot because they're just on Jerry Palms as well, just barely in the field. And you don't want to be in that spot and sweating it out on selection.
I told you they're about it. We talk about Kansas being inconsistent. Missouri's up and down. They got their ass kicked by Texas. Then they beat Vanderbilt. Then it was a good game with Arkansas.
Their problem is just the non-con. Like someone's saying, hey, what's their record? They're 18-9. They're going to get to 20-9. That should be good enough. In most years, yeah, the issue for them is they have no non-conference to fall back on. That's why they're on the bubble still. It's because they just didn't have anything in the non-con to be able to show. And it's all about the SEC play. And to their credit, they've played very well. They're 8-6. If you won tonight, you'd get to 9-6, and it would jump you back into the top 5 in the SEC.
Going back to their schedule, they faced Howard, SEMO, VMI, Minnesota, Prairie View, South Dakota, South Carolina State. I mean, they played.
Well, and any good team they played, they lost. They played Notre Dame, they lost. They played Kansas, they lost. They played Illinois, they got their ass kicked, 91-48. So it's all about, and the big win for them, of course, at Florida or home to Florida was huge for them to open up SEC play. That set the tone for them in SEC play.
That has maintained their best win because Florida's still a top 10 ranked team. Has anyone looked at the AP? Are they top 10?
From yesterday, I don't know.
I think they've been in that range pretty much all season. So that maintains. That's why.
They're first in the SEC. So
that's also why I think so. They're a top 10 team. That's why I think one win tonight and you're in. Like you don't have to do you know the relief as a college basketball team and the freedom you get to feel when you no longer have to live on this razor's edge? They have been playing themselves on and off the bubble for 2 months. Every game has felt like a tournament game for 2 months for this team. Everyone feels important. You get beat up by Texas, all of a sudden everyone projects you out of the field. You're like, oh, now we got Vanderbilt. Now we got Arkansas. Now we got Tennessee. This is 3 ranked opponents in a row. I will say beating 2 ranked opponents out of 3 will also make me feel a little bit better about Missouri's chances to maybe get a couple of wins in the NCAA tournament. Going through a stretch like that, even if they are home games, the 2 that they would win, that would tell me a little bit of something about Missouri's resilience, toughness, strength. If we come in here tomorrow and they've beaten them, I'll be happy to say, maybe they do have a little bit of juice in an NCAA tournament. If they can beat 2 ranked teams in conference 3 out of 3 games before going in there. Maybe they can make noise in the SEC tournament. Not win it, but make noise. Cause a problem for somebody, right? That's why this Tennessee game feels, I don't know, feels not substantial, not
What's
like
the line
end
on the
all
game?
be all, but at least
matters.
I have not looked, honestly.
What's your guess? I'm pulling it. I honestly haven't looked either. Let's see. My guess
Mine
is
2.5.
My guess is Missouri.
Or plus 2.5, sorry, Missouri.
Oh, so I think it's I think it's like Missouri plus 1.5 or something like that.
I was thinking Missouri is like a slight dog.
2.5. Yeah, Missouri 2.5 point dog.
Nailed it.
Boom. How about that?
I mean, we've watched sports enough and seen enough lines over the years. We can get in the ballpark probably just from they're the worst team, but they're at home. What do I think Vegas thinks about them? Rolled it out. And Tennessee's playing good. Okay, 2.5. That's essentially the way we end up getting on that number.
It's one of the best games of the night, honestly.
What else? I mean, that's the only game. I mean, what are my choices for TV on a Tuesday night in February? I don't have that much sports.
I mean, Cincinnati and Texas Tech, Arizona,
Without
Baylor,
no, thank you.
Iowa State, Utah, BYU, UCF could be sneaky. St. Louis, Dayton. Yeah.
Real quick, are you down at all on Houston now that they've lost 3 games in a row?
No.
They've by the way, the 3 teams they've lost to.
That's why I'm not down on them.
There's no shame in losing to any of them, and 2 of them came down to the wires and could have gone either way. The Kansas one did not, but the other 2 did. But they've lost 3 straight games in the Big 12.
First time I think under Kelvin Sampson. No, because Kingston Flemings is ridiculous. I understand they lost, but when you have that kind of guard play and the way they play defensively, yeah, they'll be fun.
You think it speaks more to the strength of the Big 12 than Houston having issues?
I think they'll be all right.
And notice I did not have to make the stupid pun that everybody makes anytime.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They do not have a problem, Cody.
I almost said, well, here's the problem.
Houston doesn't have a problem.
I almost said, then Houston has problems. And then I was like, oh, that's going to be too close. And so I had to shift immediately. It's like, I don't want to say that. I wasn't trying to say it related to that, but it's the same as you're not in Kansas anymore, which I'm assuming will be, I guess it's the opposite headline. You know, like the Chiefs went to Kansas. You can't even use the headline. It's not even good. You're not in Missouri anymore. Can we make some money if you had?
Oh, jeez.
If you were a Kansas fan, but you wouldn't win if you were if if you live in Kansas, you're going to wear a shirt that says Missouri.
No, some local
Shirt
place
doesn't play.
made like coffee mugs at the day that the Chiefs announced Kansas or whatever, and it was basically like there's no place like Kansas, but they tied it in like the Chiefs, like they
There's
made
no place like Kansas. That's
like
lame.
Kansas, like, but they made it with the Chiefs logo or something. I think is what it was.
I will say my only disappointment on not being on the air the day after the official announcement.
Yeah,
You and I talked a lot of the show.
you weren't. Okay.
I don't remember. I already had an obligation, but I was gone.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but I was gone. And so I wasn't there the day after. The amount of
puns.
lame ass puns from the politicians. Did you guys wear those drops out, please? They said some of the lamest, and they always do. This is not a Missouri or Kansas thing. This is a politician.
Well, the lobbyists.
Yeah, they made a tush push reference.
The lobbyist group was called Scoop and Score. So, I mean, you know.
I'd have preferred that if they let it to the official announcement.
That would have been hilarious.
If you missed that earlier, that was apparently my attempt at a
QB
NFL
cadence. I liked it.
On the spot with no practice, it could have been way
That was
worse.
unexpected. It's not even like there was any pressure.
The best text around that we got though, like
There was two I liked.
There was a great text from somebody that said that you got them to run. They almost ran a red light. You got them to jump off the line at the stop line.
Someone said at the very least I would have gotten Jawan Taylor, and I was like, that's just ice cold.
That one's the winner.
Damn.
That one is.
What'd you want to
one
on this
is
Tuesday
ding, ding, ding.
to deserve
that
this,
drop
you know?
draws me off sides. I'm at a red light and I start to go.
Sometimes you don't know the kind of
somebody-
things you're going to say on a show.
So I'm going to save this. When it's warm outside, I'll roll the windows down at a red light and just hut.
And then speed away.
Jeez. Oh man! Up
Just turn the
next,
volume up to 35 and just blast.
We'll get to what's trending, and then let's hear what Brett Veach had to say about Travis Kelce about the running back position heading into the next couple weeks.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Have you ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Well, now's your chance, courtesy of our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. All you need to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. NBA Futures, lock in your pick on who you think is going to go all the way, whether it's a team to win the championship or win the Western or Eastern Conference. Maybe you think that San Antonio is going to upset OKC out west. Maybe you got any idea who's going to come out of the Eastern Conference. Maybe you like Boston with the possible return of Jason Tatum. Whatever your bet is for the future, visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. Remember, play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 of President, Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit 1 entry. 4 Profit Boost token. Opt-in required. Must apply Profit Boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Kevin Harlan, and I'm here with Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford. Fresh off a record-breaking year and a successful run at Ford's 2025 Top Volume Award. Rob, how did you do it?
Kevin, it's simple. We pulled out all the stops on price, on trade values, on inventory, and made sure our customers got an experience they couldn't find anywhere else.
Well, the race isn't over. 2026 is here, and you're back in the chase again.
That's right, and we're going even harder this year. More inventory, more aggressive trade-in values, and a buying experience other dealers just can't match.
Well, you're not just talking, you've got the receipts. Kansas City's only top-rated Ford dealer on Google, 4.8 stars with nearly 3,000 reviews. Voted best car dealership in Kansas City by KC Magazine.
The recognition matters, but what actually matters is how you feel when you call or visit Rob Seid Ford.
Inventory, value, transparency, and no pressure. That's why people keep coming back.
Come see us at 135th and State Line or visit us online at robsight.com.
Rob Seid Ford. Buy right. Drive happy.
Whether you're commuting to work or heading out for a fast coffee break, getting an auto insurance quote is just a tap away. With AAA, you're always connected, so you can focus on the road ahead. Rest easy knowing AAA's got you covered, no matter where life takes you. AAA, we're always with you. To start your quote, visit AAA.com/insurance. Insurance provided to qualified AAA members by Automobile Club Inter-Insurance Exchange and AAA affiliate insurers. Membership requires a separate payment.
Some flavors just take you to another place. Like the Filet-O-Fish, a crispy fish fillet made with wild-caught Alaskan pollock on melty American cheese topped with tartar sauce, all on a soft, steamed bun. It's crispy, flaky perfection. And right now, I can mix and match 2 favorites, like a Filet-O-Fish or 10-piece Chicken McNuggets for just $6. This deal is the catch of the day. So get to McDonald's fast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
Drew Brees here. Whether you're on the field or on the road, having the right team on your side makes all the difference. I learned that the hard way. On the field, you don't go anywhere without a solid O-line. And when your car breaks down, you want that same kind of protection. That's why I trust CarShield. Their protection plans help you tackle expensive repairs so that you're not blindsided.
Visit carshield.com now and join the team that's helped millions of drivers save. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
This update is brought to you by Ollie's Bargain Outlet.
Savings!
Discounts, the best bargains.
At Ollie's, we've got brand name merchandise at up to 70% off the fancy store prices every day.
I get to keep more money in my pocket.
Ollie's! Good stuff, cheap!
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
Number 1 on What's Trending in Mizzou Hoops tonight. We were just talking about it. They're in action in Columbia. They'll host top 25 at Tennessee. This after the Kansas Jayhawks got a big win last night against Houston. Much needed after their embarrassing performance against Cincinnati. K-State off today. They're back at it tomorrow.
Next up on What's Trending, the Chiefs late yesterday did cut Mike Dana. They'll save almost, what is it, $8 million?
8.9, yeah.
Oh, yeah, almost $9 million on the cap this year. He originally signed a 3-year, $24 million deal, so I would not say that exactly worked out. As a matter of fact, the entire free agency class, pretty much from last year's side, I don't know, Tyquan Thornton wasn't exactly a hit for Brett Veach last season. It's been a busy day in the NFL. All kinds of stuff out of the combine if you want to pay attention.
Yeah.
Pretty much the Steelers are still openly flirting with Aaron Rodgers. Who else was it? The Raiders claim they're not going to trade Max Crosby. The Ravens say that they're confident they'll get a long-term extension done with Lamar Jackson. It's just a busy day.
The Jets GM just a short while ago talked to the New York media saying that if they cannot get an agreement done on a new deal with Breece Hall, that they will use the franchise tag or the transition tag. The franchise tag is $14.5 million. It would restrict his movement in free agency, guarantee them a draft pick compensation. If they go transition tag, it's only $11.7 million, and the Jets would be able to match any deal.
Yep. Now, I still think there's somebody.
But they don't get any draft pick compensation if you do it that way, if you don't match.
It's a risk. I'm surprised they're willing to hold on so tight to that, knowing that they're in a rebuild. But at the same time, these things happen in the NFL.
Some other NFL news. The Lions are going to play host to an NFL game in Munich next season as we find out more and more of this international schedule. We were kind of doing the process of elimination, and it feels like if the Chiefs are going to play internationally, it's either going to be one of the London games or the game in Madrid, if you just look at who's already slated and the common opponents. So it doesn't mean the Chiefs aren't playing internationally, but it feels like it's down to one of the 3 or 4 London games or the Madrid game, and perhaps their most likely opponent could end up being Atlanta or Cincinnati, or they just get a year off. They don't have to play internationally for a year.
Please.
Yeah.
They play internationally more than just about any team in the NFL, so other than the London Jaguars. So please, if that's available, I would prefer to eliminate it. While the NFL is no longer discussing a tush-push ban, the UFL said they'll get rid of it. They will also add a 4-point play for field goals of 60-plus yards and will force you to go for it if you're on the plus side of the field. The NFL right now, they're said to be at least considering allowing Sky Judge to throw flags, which I would hate and really, really, really don't want. I still think there should be a human element part of sports, so we'll see. But it's just funny that at least one league got rid of the tush push.
Lastly, on what's trending, Gunnar Rivers. Yes, the son of Philip Rivers. Gunnar Rivers, one of his children. 4-star QB commit to NC State. So he's going where his dad played college football. He's among the 50 highest rated overall prospects in the class of 2027. So you might be seeing Philip Rivers on an NC State sideline again, watching his son.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
He had offers from Auburn, Boston College, Miami, South Carolina. And my guess is the fact his dad went to NC State was probably a big deal there.
Probably
get that deal done.
helped seal the deal. Lastly, on what's trending, 2 other things out of the NFL Combine we didn't mention earlier that are worth it. C.J. Stroud trade speculation is moronic, according to their general manager.
It kind of is.
But Nick Sirianni, because he's a jerk, says, quote, can't guarantee A.J. Brown will be here next season.
Well, that's also true.
So, yeah, but normally you don't say that.
I mean, but it's because I think everybody knows A.J. Brown's not playing for the Eagles next year. Like, Stroud, I truly don't think they're trading him. A.J. Brown, I think we all know they are.
Are they going to pay Stroud, though?
Well, that's the tricky
Probably.
tricky
I mean,
spot.
the truth is they are. Every team does. You and I can talk about how eventually maybe one of these teams will wise up, but it ain't going to happen. Like, look at Kirk Cousins. Washington, right? It's not like they were good after he was gone, but were they wrong to not pay him? He has made the 4th most money in NFL history. He's made $322 million. Drew, do you know how many playoff wins Kirk Cousins has?
2?
1. Less than Tim Tebow and a million other quarterbacks. 1.
Yo.
Singular. Tebow's got 2.
You're a hater. Just a
That's
hater.
crazy.
Kirk Cousins hater. Kirk Cousins
I
hater.
love Tim Tebow. That's I
I'm
did
just
not
saying it
know
wasn't,
that.
you know,
That's
like-
crazy.
Man's got 1. Hey.
I didn't know that Tebow
Playoff
had more
win.
than him, though.
Yeah.
I love
didn't have
Tim
to
Tebow,
look,
but
that
man.
was a low blow in fairness, Gold. Mentioning Tim Tebow was
Now,
less.
Brett Veach spoke earlier today. We carried some of that live from Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine. And I thought, look, it is off-season press conferences. It's not as bad as the draft pressers where it's full-blown smokescreen, but there's some stuff that is said, and you can pick how much you want to believe in everything. But I do love hearing this when he was asked, how do you help protect Mahomes moving forward?
Well, I think it's certainly we want to get more explosive in the running game, and we've invested in that interior, and with Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, 2 of the best in the league, and we thought Kingsley made a big step. I mean, those are 3 talented interior players. So I think, and we've talked about it, and Coach has done an amazing job with his staff cranking on that scheme eval, but I think being more explosive in the running game and really taking advantage of those interior 3 to kind of impose your will on an opposing team's defense. But I mean, the running game takes a lot of pressure off everybody. So I think if we can be more explosive and more effective in the running game, I think obviously we take a lot of pressure off Pat, especially coming back early in the season with the injury.
Love hearing it. I think it's 100% correct. One, as you ease Mahomes back in, but also we just recognize where the league has gone and the teams that were making deep playoff runs, they had explosive playmakers in the backfield. Now, I, again, would love that to be addressed through free agency.
Same.
The
free agent options with Brees is getting lower.
I think they recognize that I don't think is smokescreen. Like, this is different than if we get to the week of the draft and the Chiefs didn't really sign a free agent and people are asking about Jeremiah Love and he's saying, yeah, we got to get more explosive, then they end up taking a tight end out of nowhere or something. That's the
they
kind
take
of stuff.
Sadiq at 9.
That's the kind of crap that happens. I think they recognize with the hire of Eric Bieniemy, with bringing in DeMarco Murray, that, hey, we got to have a run game. We have to be better scheme and run game. We got the offensive interior lineman, the interior offensive lineman to make it happen. We got to have somebody that's capable. If there is a opening that they're able to take advantage of that and turn a 7-yard run into a 20-yard run, that has not happened in Kansas City with their backfield in a while.
I guess
so. I do buy into, I actually think they get that aspect of it.
Who are the explosive running backs left? Not running backs left. Breece Hall reportedly going to be tagged. So who do we got left? Kenneth Walker, ETN. Does anybody consider Eckler, Najee Harris?
Eckler is too banged up.
Dowdle or Dobbins?
Bink likes Dowdle. I just really got concerned with how he finished the season. There was a clear drop off.
Yeah, no other point.
But
he didn't work in Dallas where Javonte Williams clearly did.
If it's Dowdle, Brashard Smith, and a second or third round draft pick, okay, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I can make that hypothetically work. Here's the other part about it. You remember we were talking about FAU? I don't think Brashard Smith is actually a part of the running back plans. Not like the real running back plans.
He's your third back?
Yeah. As an occasional use guy, and like the same amount of usage he got last year, that's about his plan. If they're talking about getting more explosive at back and maybe changing out Kareem Hunt, changing out Isaiah Pacheco, well, then all those guys would be ahead of Brashard Smith on the depth chart again. We just wouldn't care as much that people are ahead of him because they'd be good. The only reason we wanted Brashard Smith so much last season is because the people ahead of him stunk. But Kareem Hunt was good in short yardage and nowhere else, and Isaiah Pacheco was good nowhere. That's why I was asking you, who are the guys who are actually explosive running backs?
If we're talking about in free agency, then Travis Etienne's probably number one.
Yesterday we gave our wish list. I mean,
Rashad White was on mine.
Rashad White's not a bad answer. You know my feeling about Tyler Algier maybe being a good fit.
Algier's not explosive. Algier, you don't think
the explosiveness you could get in the draft.
Yeah, sure. I was because if we're talking out of everybody, draft and free agency included, who's the most explosive? It's Jeremiah Love by
I don't disagree with that.
Mile.
He's the best back that's available other than Breece Hall.
100%.
Like if you included everybody you could trade for or
Breece
get.
isn't available now, then I mean it's Jeremiah Love, Gap, Travis Etienne probably in terms of explosiveness.
Yeah. No, Jeremiah
I guess
Love's
what I like about
available.
Algier though is just like he gets yards after contact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not going down.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
You're going to be able to, if you hit him, he can still get you another 5 yards.
For sure.
In fact, I think
he's like David Montgomery.
Somebody had the stat on it.
This goes to the stat I gave you in the Chiefs right half hour.
But
nobody faced a light box more than the Chiefs.
No, I just mean like yards after contact. 3.65 yards after contact per rush since 2022. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
so
he doesn't go down right away.
So I like that aspect. Maybe it's not the fastest guy in the world for sure, but I think he's also not the same wear and tear as some of these other guys. He was not the number one back. We all know that's Robinson.
Being the backup to Bijan is nothing to be ashamed about.
It does help in terms of like mileage, like what you guys are talking about.
And he's at least capable. I mean, we can find big runs for any of these. Like he had a 42-yard run last year. I think. Like this idea that Algier can't have long runs.
If you're going to draft a guy, I would definitely think Algier would be
It's crazy.
the best option to pair him with, just because of, like and not to say that Travis Etienne's not, but you're gonna, in all likelihood, I think Algier isn't going to be the guy. At least I wouldn't think so. Like,
Here's why
he's going
he's
to have a similar role as he did with Bijan. It's in my mind.
But I guess this is how it fits. He's not a pass-catching guy. You can still let Brashard Smith do that. They like him as a pass-catching back. Great. Because that's not Algier's strength. And then you find the younger, more complete back in the third round and try to make it work. I will point out, before Bijan Robinson got drafted by the Falcons, Algier, as a rookie, had almost 1,200 yards from scrimmage. And then they drafted Bijan, and his yardage went down every year because they kept increasing Bijan Robinson's workload, which, again, makes sense. His spot track prediction is crazy low. I don't know if this is what he's actually going to go for. They're making it seem like Algier is going to be available for 1 for 4.
I think he's getting
$1
$4
for
million.
3.
I think he's getting $4 million.
I think he's getting like 2 for 10. I think he's getting more 3 for 15. I don't think he's getting 1 for 3.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. The price was set a couple of days ago with Javonte Williams.
Brett Veach was also asked about Travis Kelce, and how they're approaching it this go around.
Yeah, I think we've kind of taken a different approach with Travis in the sense that I think, we've kind of prepared for either scenario. And Coach had mentioned on Friday, he's had great dialogue with Travis on our end, myself, Crochet, Travis's crew. We've had some good dialogue there. And I'm sure we're going to see him here just like we will all the other players' agents, and we'll continue that dialogue. But Travis is the best. He's an icon, and hopefully he comes back, and we'll just kind of let that process play out.
This weirdly seems like everyone's acting so relaxed around Travis Kelce. I think they already know he's coming back in a weird way.
Well, I think
like
the
way they're all
momentum is
talking
there.
makes it sound like they just know he's coming back. Like not a care in the world for anybody about it.
I think people are confident that he's coming back. My only and maybe that's why they're willing to be so patient with it, because I don't want them to be sitting on April 1st and not have an answer. I don't think it'll get to that point. I also, he also said they have a plan if he doesn't, but I still think you got to have somewhat of a deadline of the start of the league year or a day or two before so that you're not putting yourself in a bad spot. But yeah, if I still would predict today, if Travis Kelce is on the Kansas City Chiefs in 2026, yeah, I would say yes.
It's hard to predict it the other way right now, unless because he's either really good at deceiving us or he is terrible at keeping this secret. Because the way every single reporter, every single player, every single coach are talking is like they pretty much know Travis is coming back. They're just waiting for him to announce it. They just don't want to break the news before he announces it on New Heights. Look, I don't know if that's wrong.
I think they're going to let him do it there, yeah.
Yeah, like it just kind of feels like coming up tomorrow on New Heights, Travis has some news about his future. And, like that's what it feels like is coming this way. You got to run a pretty tight ship, I'll say, to announce it on your podcast, because think about how many hands that thing passes through.
We'll go through the Taylor Swift show. The thing they kept the album and all that stuff quiet.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying you got to trust the number of people who see something like that. Oh. That's all. But if they were able to keep an album secret, then
people's jobs are on the line, and
it doesn't even feel like a big deal to break the I'm returning news on your podcast when you broke album news from one of the biggest artists on the planet on your podcast. Now, look, it helps when you...
Man, that was in October. That feels like it was a year ago. That was in October.
Feels like it was 10 years ago. How long ago does it feel?
Or was that the album was October, but the podcast was in September, wasn't it?
How long ago? Yeah. How long ago now does it feel when she first came to a game and you and I had to spend a huge chunk of the next show talking about how Taylor Swift came to the game?
Was it the Bears game?
She was officially dating Travis.
Yeah. I mean, that has been 2+ years. It feels like
it feels like a decade.
It does. Yeah. I mean, COVID feels like 20 years ago. So, yeah.
I mean, it was 6 years ago.
We started the show 6 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. We started. That was kind of rough timing for us. Started the show, went to Miami, parade, happy, fun times. And then you and I spent, 3 months doing a show, 4 months doing a show in my unfinished basement talking Tiger King.
That's right.
Pretty bleak. Then we found out Drew never got around to seeing.
Honestly, maybe he's fortunate he didn't.
What were you watching during COVID?
Maybe he's lucky he didn't.
You must have been doing.
Crap.
Were you puzzling? Everyone did something during COVID. We're all just sitting around our house bored.
I mean, The Last Dance obviously came out during COVID. That's probably the thing.
We all ran through that pretty quick.
I will say, I think that I golfed a lot during COVID. I don't think I golfed a ton.
Like, were you playing like 4 rounds a week, 5 rounds a week?
I was playing probably 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it. I was like, everybody picked up something. What was your thing, Gold? Tiger King.
It was just a lot of Netflix. Yeah, it was a lot of Netflix and shows.
It also depended on the state too, obviously, and how people handled it. Like,
yeah, you were in Florida, right?
No, dude. For COVID, I moved back to Indy because a bunch of us got laid off because of the COVID stuff.
What a ridiculous time.
Yeah, I was in Indy, and then towards the not end of COVID, but 2021.
Cody was
I moved to Pensacola, and obviously it was way more lax in Florida than it is compared to other places. So people went out about their business. You just had to wear a mask, and you just had to,
Yeah, Cody was practicing his football cadence, apparently. I think that's what he was doing.
Were you expecting that today on the show?
No, but I love it. And I'm playing that drop every time.
I genuinely hate.
It came out of thin air. No, we didn't ask you to do it. You just gave the cadence.
Someone's right. They forgot the liquor stores were always the liquor store business was crazy during COVID.
And they made it so you could do like drive up pickup. I could drive.
The distilleries were making hand sanitizer at
There's a distillery in North Kansas City who got their entire like kettle system paid for via grant if they just agreed to also make hand sanitizer.
Someone says,
So,
Gold,
like-
can you still smell and taste? No, back then I could. Cannot smell.
We're
I
still
actually
looking for
have
solutions.
Actually, it's funny. I have to make a phone call at the end of the show. I have an appointment finally with an ENT to see if there's any solution to the no smelling for 3 years. Doctor was not confident that they could do anything, but I said I want to see an ENT, at least find out. So we'll see. I'll let you know. Trust me. If the day comes that I can smell again, you will know. I will make sure you know. We'll
Monitoring a little bit of down in spring training before we get out of here. You and I were talking with JJ in the last segment about the ABS system. I have now seen 2 different highlights. So the Yankees challenged 6 straight.
And they're right?
Balls. They were only wrong on the 7th.
Wow. But it's so quick.
In the Red Sox game, there were only 6 outs in the game between the Red Sox and the Pirates. There were, not kidding, 3 calls challenged. The ump was wrong on all 3.
Well, the ump should be good.
Did they realize that they were this wrong all the time?
It's also spring training, so keep that in mind.
Oh, they're just getting their
they're getting warmed up
too.
They're getting warmed up.
I just think it's going to lead to some fights because I think players are going to be braggadocious about the look at you, dum-dum. And for all these years of built up, every time an umpire tried to tell you that ball was a strike or not a strike, or was it, like for all the times that you were right and they were wrong, not that they weren't wrong sometimes, they're just going to go back into it. A lot of people telling us what they did during COVID, by the way. Essential workers, so they said, I was in it. Alex and I were not essential workers, but
I
we
was
never
working
stopped.
in the winter of 2020. Yeah.
At the end of the year? Mm-hmm. By the end of the year, you and I, Gold, were back in the studio, and life wasn't normal by any means. It was the only time that I considered homeschooling my kids because I tried to do virtual school with my daughter.
How old were they at the time? Like three and
tried to. She was in virtual school. She was 4.5, 5. But she was in a program and she had to do it. And I was like, this isn't going to work.
I should have done a much better job at managing my stimulus checks. I will say that. Those guys.
Those are long gone.
Those
guys
are
used so long gone.
So fast.
Those are so long gone.
Someone says COVID was the wire bench. It was a lot of TV for me.
Well, yeah,
I think my kids are homebodies to this day because of it. We just we battened down the hatches around that time. And I maybe just became more of a inside person than I've ever been.
Maybe it's
like
weird.
spend time outside.
I spent a lot of time outside. I was inside.
Outside, fine, but I just meant at home. I spent a lot of time at home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. Like there would be days where I would just go on a drive.
Yeah, I did a lot of that. I definitely did a lot of just go drive.
Gas was cheap. We were all
you go on the runs.
Nobody was driving, so gas was dirt cheap.
I almost don't remember it so much because I hadn't moved home back in a while, and I was in Indy. I was at my parents' house.
I was playing virtual poker with people and it was a nightmare, dude. Nightmare. Never again, please.
No, we won't have that again.
Never again. That's like you do realize, but to wrap up the show on a positive note, you do realize, Gold, that like my kids or your kids or whatever, at some point they're going to be in high school and they're going to be asked to do a school project to write up an essay on what it was like to live during that time, and they're going to have to interview me like some depressive essay on what it was actually, because they're going to be too young to remember. So they're going to ask kids who are too young to remember, like, I want you to ask a generation what COVID was like for them. And I'm going to have to re-describe this like we just did on the air. And be like, oh, I don't know. I was just sitting inside watching Tiger King, sanitizing my groceries as they walked in with a baby wipe. And I never did that, I guess. But people were doing that.
When did things start to turn? Because
turn as in wrap up or get bad?
As in get better. As in get better from was it the middle of 2020?
Depends on who you talk to. I guess honestly,
probably depends on the person. Yeah,
it depends on who you talk to.
After the vaccine is probably the answer.
Because
that's how we're gonna end the show. Talking vaccines.
I think that was probably the turning point for when people started to act.
So to our vacation in the Outer Banks, we did not cancel that vacation. I was in the Outer Banks in July.
There you go.
2020.
For real?
Yeah.
How'd you drove?
Yeah.
Like, how the hell did you get there?
On vacation? Yeah, I went on vacation.
I'm not sure you could fly fully then. Maybe you could.
Oh, you could. They didn't. For the airlines weren't shut down for months.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
could fly.
I just don't remember. I don't remember when it all.
Matt's on airplane was terrible. That's true.
I do remember Alex and we were doing a remote from Old Shawnee. I don't remember. Alex and I were doing a remote from a local restaurant.
Yeah.
And there was an article out from an ESPN writer. It's like they should cancel the NCAA tournament. Alex, I sat on the air and we're like, are you nuts?
It was Old Shawnee Pizza.
Cancel the NCAA tournament? Are we there now? Dude, we didn't
Dan Wolken.
We didn't get through the show.
From USA Today?
He was on the show that day.
Oh.
And
the next day they canceled the NCAA tournament and everything canceled.
We were like, stop.
The NBA paused, everything paused. Like within 48 hours, sports did not exist. And we're like, whew, we misidentified that one.
Our experiences for COVID were so much different because I remember I was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee in April. In May.
Yeah,
on
good times,
vacation.
man. I'm glad we could have this little.
Every state was different. It's kind of
the text line is taking a turn. See what you've done. See what you've done. Now it's exactly what I was afraid of. Oh boy. We were just reminiscing. You
mentioned
the word vaccine, and the text line is flipped. It is completely flipped.
Relax,
man. Oh man. Oh goodness.
Good way. Anytime we have an awkward moment on the show,
it's like the Whopper thing we used to play. Anytime it gets awkward and weird.
Thank you for that, Cody. I know you probably didn't even intend it to be that way, but thank
I don't
you.
know. I didn't know how it would play as a drop, honestly, because I was just telling you how I hate the rule that they go up there and do fake snap counts, even though if they know they're going to punt. I think they should be punished 50 yards if they punt.
That's where it came from. I forgot about that.
If you stand up there and you do the fake cadence like you're going to go for it, and you don't go for it, you are penalized 50 yards. You have to go back 50 yards.
Because as soon as you
That's
did
my
it,
new
Gold
rule
turned and
proposal.
looked at me